Chapter 176. This voice was very familiar, but it wasn't from the celestial sealing sect. It seemed to have come from somewhere in the past. This was why Su Fong felt that he had heard wrongly. There was only one explanation. He had heard this voice before entering the celestial sealing sect, Sword Pole City, and it was someone he came into contact with in Green Spirit City. As he focused, he saw that the main hall was filled with disciples from the 7 grotto heavens. Most of them were men, and some of them were female disciples. They had slim waists and showed their graceful side. That is, soon he found his target. Su Fong's eyes turned from puzzlement to astonishment. He was even a little absent-minded. Among the crowd, a man and a woman walked towards him. They seemed to be here to trade. The woman had outstanding looks. Even though there were many female cultivators around, they couldn't stop her from being outstanding. Her aura was untainted by even a speck of dust. As for the man beside her, he had outstanding heroic spirit. From his body, there was a royal aura. It was obvious that he wasn't an ordinary cultivator. They were talking and laughing, which made others envious. With one look, this man and woman had already become Tao companions. The man was handsome, and the woman was beautiful. They were a match made in heaven. Furthermore, they were disciples of the myriad Tao grotto heaven. He remembered that Lin Wei and Gong Sun, he were also from the myriad Tao grotto heaven. He took a deep breath, and his gaze settled down. The once prosperous Zhao country appeared in his mind. It's a small world. 8th Prince Lu Lan. The man was the 8th prince of the Zhao country. The woman was Lu Lan, who was born in Tianzong City with Su Fong. The world was so big, but why couldn't Su Fong and Lu Lan walk out of this palm-sized place? With these feelings, he naturally understood that the current Lu Lan was already a member of the Zhao clan and should have followed Zhao Wuji to join the immortal sealing sect. As the saying went, once a person achieves the Tao, even his chickens and dogs will ascend to heaven. Most of the important members of the Zhao clan, or the members that Zhao Wuji valued, should have joined the immortal sealing sect. Moreover, Zhao Wuji was also cultivating in the myriad Tao grotto heaven. It seemed like the 8th prince and Lu Lan had also joined the myriad Tao grotto heaven and become official disciples. If they weren't official disciples, they wouldn't be able to come here. 8th prince, Lu Lan has also condensed his gold core and reached the 2nd stage of heaven union. To be able to condense his gold core in just a few decades, it isn't just Lu Lan's talent. It's also related to Zhao Wuji. He pretended to be indifferent and continued to trade with others. His thoughts were in turmoil. Seeing an old friend again, he was naturally filled with emotions. The 8th prince held Lu Lan's hand and stood out from the crowd like a crane in a flock of chickens. This is Senior Brother Fong. I heard that you are here to purchase gold and silver. I am Zhao Changjing from the Myriad Tao Paradise. Because my ancestor had established an empire and had plenty of gold and silver, I am here to have a chat with Senior Brother Fong. Su Fong understood his current identity. To the 8th prince and Lu Lan, he was just an unfamiliar fellow disciple. He nodded and said, I do need gold and silver. Junior Brother Zhao's ancestors had once established an empire. He wanted to have a chat with the 8th prince, Zhao Changjing, and also nodded at Lu Lan. That's right, it's just a small country. Forget it, let's not talk about the past. Senior Brother really needs a large amount of gold and silver, and Junior Brother needs heavenly fusion pure yuan pills. I hope the price can be a bit higher. I have quite a bit of gold and silver here. The 8th prince lowered his status. Of course, in the immortal bestowment sect, there were genuine princes and princesses from large countries, and the Zhao nation couldn't even compare. The 8th prince knew his own limits and didn't flaunt his identity everywhere as capital. It also meant that the 8th prince was also considered a figure. It was just that he was still lacking when compared to Zhao Wuji, but it was hard to say what he would achieve in the future. Sure, Su Fong acted like he was straightforward, but he was already scheming. He wanted to use his new identity to befriend the 8th prince and then interact with Zhao Wuji. He wanted to find out the whereabouts of the 3rd purple aura spirit, and only Zhao Wuji knew about it. Even imperishable realm disciples didn't know about such an important treasure. That's right, I recalled that during the 100 Years trials, I met a senior brother named Zhao Wuji. You have the same surname as that senior brother. Could you be related to him? The eighth prince and Lu Lan sat down at the side and negotiated the price with Su Fang. As expected, they took out a large amount of gold and silver, like several mountains of gold and silver. Only now did they know that Zhao Wuji must have already moved the treasury or kept the treasures, leaving behind a portion of the treasures. The eighth prince was very happy with the deal, and Su Fang purposely mentioned Zhao Wuji in front of the two of them. So senior brother Fang knows about my Zhao clan's expert. Indeed, he is my Zhao clan's #1 expert. Before the 100 Years trials, he had already killed his way into the mortal ranking. Even before the contest for the mortal ranking started, my clan's expert is already publicly recognized as one of the top few rankers. When the eighth prince saw that Su Fang seemed to have some respect for Zhao Wuji, or maybe he wanted to befriend Zhao Wuji, he opened his mouth and spoke like a prince. He talked about his relationship with Zhao Wuji, as well as Zhao Wuji's influence in the 7 great paradises. If he didn't listen, he wouldn't know. He didn't expect Zhao Wuji to climb up so quickly. Before the contest for the mortal ranking started again, he was already publicly recognized as an expert on the mortal ranking. After chatting for a while, Su Fang revealed his strong thoughts. During the trials, I met senior brother Zhao once. This senior brother is a great genius. I heard that he had just joined the Immortal Bestowment sect and had already ascended to the mortal ranking. I have always liked to befriend geniuses. The previous trials were too rushed. If there is a chance in the future, I will definitely get to know such a person. That's easy. In the future, senior brother will walk around with me more often. You will have plenty of chances to meet my Zhao clan's experts. The eighth prince couldn't help but feel a little proud. Junior brother, do you have any other treasures to trade? I can buy them at high price. Since he came here so happily, Su Fang was going to sacrifice a little to catch a big fish. When the eighth prince heard this, he immediately beamed with joy and took out a lot of treasures with Lu Lan. However, most of them were mid-grade Dharma artifacts, and their quality was average. Su Fang bought them all at a high price. Before leaving, the eighth prince and Su Fang left a communication talisman with each other. In the future, they could activate the talisman at any time to interact with each other. Zhao Wuji, you killed my family Su's ancestor and took away my family Su's treasures. I, Su Fang, will get it back from you sooner or later. Watching the two of them leave, Su Fang pretended to be enthusiastic and waved his hand. However, in his heart, he was scheming. The eighth prince had gotten a good deal this time. He would definitely go back and tell the other members of the Zhao clan to come and trade with them. As time passed, wouldn't their relationship become even more familiar? He would also have the chance to interact with Zhao Wuji. After a few days, Su Fang was able to sit back and relax. Those experts who wanted to take back their empty bags didn't dare to openly cause trouble for him. Everyone knew that Su Fang was related to a peerless, undying expert in the high immortal heaven. As a disciple of the longevity sect, who would dare to casually deal with Su Fang? Wouldn't that be asking for trouble? As for Lu Han, he also came to find Su Fang. When he had nothing to do, he would come and chat with him. He also asked about Dao Wuliang's whereabouts. It seemed like he really treated him and Dao Wuliang as friends. Ice Moon Paradise Yin, Saifeng's Qingshan Dao sect. There were over 1,000 disciples gathered in the main hall. They were all disciples of Yin Saifeng's Dao sect, and most of them were men. Yin Kaifeng gathered everyone. First, he summarized the results of the 100-year trials. Then he talked about the mortal ranking. The 100-year trial was a cycle. After 100 years, there would be new changes to the mortal rankings. Those disciples who were previously on the mortal rankings had either broken through to the undying realm or had already stepped into the high immortal heaven realm. Only a very small number of disciples were still on the mortal rankings. The mortal ranking was set up by the Celestial Bestowment sect to encourage disciples to cultivate. Any disciple who made it onto the mortal ranking, earth ranking, or heaven ranking would definitely become a master, Dao master, or sovereign in the future. Yin Kaifeng hoped that every disciple who had reached the longevity realm would be able to compete for the top spot on the mortal ranking within 100 years. There were only 10 spots. No matter how long one would be on the mortal ranking, as long as one was on the celestial bestowment sex record, it was also a lifelong honor. After the gathering ended, Su Fong returned to his cave residence to continue cultivating. He continued to refine the gold and silver he had collected into the flaming cloud spiritual gourd. With the green fiend true fire, a large amount of gold and silver would be refined into gold and silver chi very quickly for Su Fong and the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda to absorb. The seal of 10,000 deities is indeed unfathomable. Not only do I need to form a large number of array runes, but I also need to master more than 10,000 sealing techniques. The techniques, runes, and array-type Dharma artifacts are needed to form the seal of 10,000 deities. There was really not enough time. Not only did he need to cultivate the 9 Yang 9 transformations, but he also needed to cultivate the Flaming Cloud Spiritual Gourd and the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. Now, there is also the True Demon Bloodplate and the Heavenly Demon Scripture. Not only that, he also needed to learn arrays, runes, and other Dharma artifacts. A true expert was someone who could master all aspects, not only offense, but also defense, alchemy, refining, setting up arrays, and so on. Fortunately, after breaking through to the 8th stage of heavenly fusion, although he did not have a golden core, he had all kinds of resources. His cultivation was much more normal because he was a void. Thinking of the mysterious woman in the ancient mirror, Su Fong wanted to ask her a few questions, such as void or devil path cultivation techniques. After entering the primordial chaos sacred realm, not only did he sense Yang Qi, but he also sensed the 9 Yin Qi that the mysterious woman cultivated. He was still unable to move in the space. He could only release his divine sense to constantly summon the mysterious woman. It seems losing your golden core was a blessing in disguise. You've reached the 8th stage of heavenly fusion in such a short time, said the mysterious woman weakly after an incense stick's worth of time. Knowing Su Fong's purpose for coming, the mysterious woman explained to him about the 9 transformations of the 9 suns. When it came to devil path energy arts, the mysterious woman actually knew about the heavenly demon scripture. This devil path energy art is one of the basic techniques of the devil race. After the heavenly devil disintegration seal, there are even more powerful divine abilities. You accidentally obtain this technique, so you can cultivate it or not. Your 9 Yang True Chi is the ultimate Yang energy of heaven and earth. It can devour any type of devilish energy. However, I don't know what will happen if you continue cultivating it, especially since you've lost your golden core. Su Fong thought about it for a long time. It seemed he would have to make the decision himself. In the end, he decided to seriously cultivate the heavenly demon scripture. After all, 9 Yang True Chi could suppress devilish energy. Combining it with devil path cultivation techniques would only bring him benefits in the future. Half a day later, he returned his divine sense to his true body. Buzz. Suddenly, there was movement in his empty pouch. He pulled out a talisman that had been left behind by 8th Prince Zhao Qingjing. He wants to see me. It seems the fish will take the bait. It's just a matter of time. I wonder where Dao Wuliang went. I don't think he went back to the forest of seclusion. We offended the dark forest, so there's no way we can get past it. The dark forest is too mysterious. Not even the house of immortal bestowal can make me feel like I can see the bottom of it. With that, he left the immortal's cave and headed toward the Dao Myriad paradise. Along the way, Su Fong thought about Dao Wuliang. Thankfully, Yin Changluo and the other experts from the House of Immortal Bestowal hadn't been able to capture him. In fact, they hadn't even been able to determine whether Yin Qi was dead or alive. That old fox Dao Wuliang is probably hiding in a place that suits him. Demons and humans don't get along, and he doesn't like dealing with humans. Therefore, he must have gone to the Crimson Nimbus continent. After some thought, Su Fong had a general idea of what was going on. He also asked King Greenfeather, who was friends with Dao Xin's mother. Chapter 177, Myriad Dao Paradise. It was about the same size as the Frozen Moon Paradise, but it had more disciples. There were also a large number of Dao temples within the huge Paradise's barrier. Other disciples could enter the Myriad Dao Paradise, but when they entered, their tokens would be sensed by the Myriad Dao Paradise's barrier. Only then could they enter the paradise normally. This way, the controller of the Dao Temple's barrier would know that Su Fong was in the barrier space. The eighth prince, Zhao Chengjing, had been waiting for Su Fong outside the training hall for a long time. When the two met, they exchanged pleasantries without stopping. After entering the Dao Temple, they found out that this huge Dao Temple was bestowed to the entire Zhao clan by the Myriad Dao Paradise. Actually, it was given to Zhao Wuji. Disciples who could own a Dao temple were either geniuses on the mortal ranking or disciples with great potential. From this, it could be seen that Zhao Wuji was indeed valued by the immortal sealing sect. There were many palaces and caves inside the Dao temple. There were more than 30 people in the Zhao clan, and all of them were former royalty of the Zhao country. Zhao Wuji's Dao temple was at the top. Zhao Chengjing had asked Su Fong to come here to introduce him to the other Zhao clan cultivators so that it would be convenient for them to trade. There were dozens of Zhao clan members who had all reached the heavenly fusion realm. Most of them were at the first level. It seemed like the entire Zhao clan had recently condensed their golden core and entered the Myriad Dao Paradise. It's a pity that my Zhao clan's old ancestor, Wuji, is wholeheartedly cultivating in seclusion. He's trying to break through to the peak of the longevity realm. He doesn't even want to meet us. Otherwise, I would definitely introduce him to senior brother. After chatting for a while, they didn't see Lulon. The cultivators of the Zhao clan were like blood-sucking insects. They took advantage of Zhao Wuji's reputation to do business with Su Fong. How are they doing business? They were clearly using this relationship to take advantage of Su Fong and obtain many pure essence pills. This kind of small loss was nothing. The eighth prince was a shrewd person. Su Fong said, "I heard from outsiders that senior brother Wuji had just entered the sect. I didn't expect him to bring the entire Zhao clan to the Myriad Dao Paradise and have a Dao temple. It seems like your Zhao clan is valued by the sect. This Fong Yu is truly interesting. It seems that in order to befriend the patriarch, he is also very concerned about our Zhao clan." Zhao Chengjing was secretly proud of himself. He couldn't help but feel superior to Su Fong. Our Zhao family was valued by the sect because our ancestor was a genius. He reached the peak of the longevity realm in a short time and tried to break through to the undead realm. Our ancestor's name will definitely be recorded on the ranking list of young masters in the next 100 years. The eighth prince bragged. He thought that Su Fong didn't know the inside story. In fact, to be valued by the celestial sealing sect, it was most likely a purple or a magic spirit. He was deliberately mystifying things here, but he didn't know that this person in front of him knew the origins of his Zhao family like the back of his hand. Moreover, they both came from the same small territory. It's still not a deep friendship. Even if it's a deep friendship, Zhao Chengjing wouldn't easily reveal the Zhao family secret. After staying for half a day, the eighth prince personally sent Su Fong out of the training hall. Just as he arrived at the dojo, there were a few immortal-level powerhouses blocking the way. Su Fong felt that these people looked familiar. He thought about it again and realized that they were the powerhouses from the Myriad Tao Grotto Heaven that he had robbed on Mount Seven Injuries. Senior Apprentice Brothers, this Senior Apprentice Brother Fong is a guest I invited. Can you make things easier for us? The eighth prince instantly understood why these people had come. He helped Su Fong get away. But these longevity realm experts didn't give Zhao Chengjing any face. Of course, they also knew about Zhao Wuji, but he was only a longevity realm expert. His cultivation base was the same as theirs, so they naturally wouldn't give him any face. Furthermore, this wasn't Zhao Wuji's training hall, but outside. It wasn't that they didn't want to give him face. Thank you for your kindness, Junior Apprentice Brother. Let's meet again next time. Su Fong turned around and looked at the longevity realm experts from Myriad Dao Paradise. Their cultivation bases were between stage 6 and stage 8. Su Fong suddenly released his energy. I've already cleaned out your empty bags. If you want to take them back, you'll have to see if you have the ability to stop me from returning to Frozen Moon Paradise. If you want to escape, kill. The longevity realm experts angrily seized the opportunity. When Su Fong left Frozen Moon Paradise, they either summoned the Cold Frost Sword or used the Illusion Cloud Rope. It seemed like they wanted to capture Su Fong alive. They didn't have the guts to kill Su Fong in public. Su Fong used a footwork that was very similar to the Fire Cloud Steps. Together with the Cold Frost Sword, the moment the dozen or so experts surrounded him, he was like an aurora that pierced through the clouds. What shocking speed! Didn't he not have a gold core? Why does it feel like he's unfathomable? The 8th Prince, Zhao Chengjing, was dumbfounded. The longevity realm experts chased after him like a swarm of bees. After those experts left, the 8th Prince also wanted to go and watch the show. However, a voice suddenly came from behind him. Chengjing, why are you together with Fang Yu? Grand Elder? He quickly bowed. Fang Yu bought gold and silver from 7 Injuries Peak. I asked my clansmen to sell the gold and silver in exchange for treasures and pure elemental pills. Since we don't need the gold and silver, we became very close to Fang Yu. Furthermore, this person has heard of the Grand Elder's name and wants to befriend him. I met this person once in the 100-year trial space. This person is indeed very skilled. I can't see through him. He's only at Heaven Merge realm, but his strength has reached the longevity realm. Recently, he caused a huge commotion, and his name shook the 7 great grotto heavens. He also received the protection of the Undying Realm experts from Frozen Moon Paradise. Now, his status is higher than most of the longevity realm experts. If he really wants to be friends with my Zhao clan, you can interact with him more. However, don't say things that you shouldn't say. Chengwei understands. You should practice dual cultivation with Lu Lan more often. I can help all of you to raise your Heaven Merge realm and condense your golden core, but I can't help all of you to reach the longevity realm quickly. This kind of marrow cleansing ability is still very difficult for me. In the future, your cultivation will depend on yourselves. You must not slack off. If your performance is good, I will let you establish a Zhao country in the Crimson Firmament continent. Zhao Wuji's voice was extremely domineering, causing the 8th Prince to bow repeatedly. How is this possible? Didn't Fang Yu not have a golden core? Why do I feel that his strength is even more unfathomable than before? When he was in the 7 Injuries Peaks array, his strength was at most at Immortal Realm level 3 or level 4. But now, he's almost at Immortal Realm level 4. His speed is so shockingly fast. I don't even know where he went. Everyone forget it. He must have returned to Frozen Moon Paradise. We can't go there. Maybe the Undying Realm expert Fu Tianxian secretly helped him. Yes, he must be an Undying Realm expert. Otherwise, how could he escape from the myriad Dao Grotto Heaven under our noses? Outside, the myriad Dao Grotto Heaven was the Celestial Sealing Sect's vast training grounds. More than 10 longevity realm experts were like a swarm of flies, searching for Su Fong's traces everywhere. But in the vast training grounds, there was no sign of Su Fong. Frozen Moon Paradise. Su Fong did not return to his cave residence. Instead, he looked for Zheng Daoxin and used training as an excuse to go out for a period of time. Last time, Su Fong had done him a favor. This time, he naturally agreed to Su Fong's request and gave him a few years, or even 10 years. He immediately left the Celestial Sealing Sect, taking advantage of the fact that no one knew his whereabouts. To be honest, he was still worried that Yin Chongluo, Song Changsheng, Cheng Jianxia, and the other experts would make a move on him. Especially because of the barbarian Mark Divine Force Cauldron. He had offended an Undying Realm expert like Hua Tianyuan. This time, he could have gone to Gu King Valley to look for Qin Feng. But for safety reasons, he did not even inform Qin Feng. Gu King Valley a few days later, Su Fong came here again. He was more familiar with the place, but he also found that Gu King Valley seemed to be on high alert. Gu King Valley's disciples patrolled the forest from time to time. Of course, Su Fong also sent some experts who were coveting goo worms. After entering Goo King Valley, this was the first time Su Fong had a rough understanding of Goo King Valley. Even with the protection of the barrier, these barriers could not do anything to him. Soon, he sensed an extremely profound aura without a golden core. Together with Green Feather King's senses, it was the forest where Venerable Goo was. Pardon. After he deliberately touched the barrier, a young man's white figure suddenly flashed in the forest. It was Venerable Goo. Venerable Goo had a cold expression, but when he saw Su Fong, he returned to normal. Good lad, to think that in such a short time, you have caused so much commotion in the Celestial Sealing sect. Now, you have become an important disciple of Frozen Moon Paradise. I think Venerable Goo has been paying attention to my movements. After thinking for a while, Su Fong replied, and Venerable Goo brought him into the forest. In the depths of the forest, there was another world. It was a formation space. In the formation, there were many ancient wooden buildings and several streets. It looked like a village inside, but it was actually a formation world where the cultivators of Goo King Valley lived. The people here seemed to be very low-key, but there were many longevity realm experts and some undying realm auras. Goo King Valley's strength was still very deep, and Su Fong became an outsider, attracting a lot of attention. But because Venerable Goo brought him in, most of them had friendly expressions. I have often heard about your every move in the Celestial Sealing sect from the disciples in the valley. It seems that my eyesight is very accurate. You are indeed not a fish in a pond. They entered the largest wooden tower, which was 5 floors high. Once they entered, Su Fong saw a large number of goo worms sealed in different bottles. Some bottles had blood and children's corpses. It was too evil, but this was to raise goo worms. Venerable Goo did not stand on ceremony with Su Fong. They chatted all the way to the hall on the first floor. A servant served Su Fong tea, but Su Fong kept feeling that the air was filled with the smell of blood. Senior, Junior has come this time to ask about cultivation. After sitting for a while, Su Fong stated his intentions. With the Celestial Sealing sect, you still have doubts about cultivation? Venerable Goo was very surprised. Senior should also know that Junior's golden core is broken. And Junior unexpectedly sensed that there is no golden core in Senior's body, so I boldly came to ask Senior for some cultivation experience. There are quite a few people like you who have lost their gold core at the Heavenly Fusion Realm. It can be said that there are a lot of them. In this world of mutual deception, not killing people is often the most common method to cripple one's gold core. However, only a true big shot can restore one's gold core. My cultivation has yet to reach that realm, so I cannot help you. Junior does not need Senior to help me condense my golden core. I only hope Senior can tell me more about your cultivation experience. Senior's strength is unfathomable, and you also grasped it without a golden core. Actually, it is not that I don't have a golden core, but when I was young, I was too stubborn and insisted on walking a path that no goo cultivator had walked before. I used my own body to start raising goo worms. In the end, I had no choice but to transfer my golden core into a goo worm's body. The goo worm is my golden core. Senior is a person of great wisdom and courage. After hearing that, Su Fong immediately stood up to show his respect. Cultivators who lost their golden core had no choice, but Venerable Goo was in a different situation. He had a choice, but he chose to lose his golden core and walk a path that no one had walked before. Venerable Goo was about to say something when he suddenly looked outside. A servant rushed in. "Master, not good. Young master is injured." Chapter 178. Venerable Goo immediately stood up. "What happened to that brat?" The servant said. "Young master got separated from the experts of the valley in the ruins of Spirit Sect and got into an accident. More than 10 of his meridians were broken, and he was almost heavily injured. Let's go." It seemed that the young master had an extraordinary status in Venerable Goo's eyes. He ordered the servant to lead the way and left in a hurry. Su Fong was curious and also left the room. Actually, the one who was curious was not the young master. It was the ruins of Spirit Sect. At this time, Green Feather King's divine sense appeared in his mind. Spirit Sect's ruins are in the ocean south of Crimson Firmament Continent. It's not too far away, and you can reach there in half a month. Tens of thousands of years ago, it was a small continent called Spirit Sect Continent. Unfortunately, due to some unforeseen event, it turned into ruins. After tens of thousands of years, Spirit Sect's ruins became a complicated place where all kinds of cultivators and forces gathered. The biggest force is Supreme God Sect. So Supreme God Sect is in Spirit Sect's ruins. Supreme God Sect's history can be traced back to 10,000 to 20,000 years ago. It was built in Spirit Sect's ruins. Even if Immortal Sealing Sect and Ziwei Star Sect went there, Supreme God Sect wouldn't give them face. That place is the biggest underground market. You could buy whatever you want. There are even king-grade artifacts as long as you can afford the price. King-grade artifacts. That's not strange. Although king-grade celestial artifacts are the most powerful celestial artifacts in the small world, it's impossible that there are only a few dozen of them. The Supreme God Sect keeps good king-grade celestial artifacts and then peddles substandard ones, making a lot of money back and forth. To them, what they eat is their own. Green Feather Monarch introduced Su Fong to Su Fong. Spirit Sect's ruins. Supreme God Sect. I should go out and see the world outside of Crimson Firmament Continent. Su Fong suddenly had an idea. He wanted to go to Spirit Sect's ruins. He came to another wooden building. It looked ordinary, but when he entered, he found out that there was a completely different world. Within the space of the formation, one would enter a world filled with all kinds of strange auras through the door. More than 10 longevity realm and several undying realm experts were waiting in the formation. Once they saw Venerable Gu, they bowed. Master, we were unable to protect young Master. Go back and rest first. You have worked hard on this trip to Spirit Sect's ruins. Gu Daoist Master seemed to be very concerned about the young Master and should be angry, but he calmly sent these people out of the space. Su Fong saw that these people were not simple. They had all kinds of divine arts, especially when he heard the sound of many Gu worms lying dormant in their bodies. Valley Master. In the center of the formation was a blood pool. The blood pool was made from a large number of strange spirit stones and inlaid with all kinds of runes. Two old men in their 60s were in the middle of the blood pool, condensing blood chi into a young man's body. Although he was a young man, he was only around 10 or 16 years old. His whole body was frail and inexperienced, especially when he knew that Gu Venerable had arrived. He purposely cried out in pain. Gu Venerable Gu asked, "What's the situation?" More than 10 meridians were broken. It's obvious that they want to cripple the young master's cultivation. If it was an ordinary person, they would be crippled for life. If it was the young master, it would take a month to recover more than 10 meridians. Su Fong, who was at the side, was very surprised when he heard the injuries and the words of the old man. More than 10 meridians could not be recovered in a lifetime for an ordinary person. It was possible for an expert to cleanse the marrow, but it would take at least a year or even several years. But in Gu King's Valley, it could be done in a month. Exaggeration. Use human blood Gu. Gu Venerable nodded. Yes, we are waiting for Valley Master's order to use human blood Gu. The two old men immediately made hand seals in front of the blood pool. Squeak, squeak from the empty space. Several passages suddenly appeared. It was unknown where the passages came from, but Gu worms crawled out from them. There were about 10 Gu worms. At first glance, these Gu worms were not simple. They actually emitted a very strong aura, which seemed to be demonic aura or spiritual aura. It was very strange. It seemed that these human blood Gu were also cultivators. Incredible. These human blood Gu were definitely precious treasures. The human blood Gu was not ordinary black or blood red, but a blood gold color. Each Gu worm clearly contained an astonishing life aura. The human blood Gu crawled into the young man's body. It looked very disgusting, but the young man was already used to it. He quickly regained his spirit and opened his eyes, complaining to Gu Venerable pitifully. "Grandpa, they won't take revenge for me. Grandpa, you must help me. I'm already so old. How can I help you? I didn't agree to let you go to Spirit Sex Ruins. You sneaked out yourself. I warned you many times. Spirit Sex Ruins are not Goo King's Valley. Everyone here will let you go, but who cares about you in the outside world? You have only yourself to blame for this. Goo Venerable was enraged. Grandpa, you must help Ziyong. Be honest, you are not a child anymore. Grandpa, the young man acted coquettishly in the blood pool, constantly begging. Goo Venerable had lived for so long, he would definitely not agree to his excessive request. The descendants of big forces are really willful. This young master was completely a hedonistic young master. Who could resist him when he was tormenting Goo Venerable like this? The young man changed his method. Grandpa, they took away my pill protection goo. That was given to Ziyong by you, a supreme goo worm that can protect his golden core. Goo Venerable could not do anything to him. Wastrel, how many golden cores does a pill protection goo need to nurture? Forget it. A pill protection goo can save your life. You have profited. Just recuperate and don't go anywhere for a month. They said that my Goo King's Valley is useless. That's why I argued with them. They said that my Goo King's Valley is useless. They're all cowards. Even after Goo Venerable left, that young master called Ziyong was still talking nonstop, thinking of ways to provoke Goo Venerable's anger. How could Goo Venerable not know that this was his method? After leaving the formation, Goo Venerable brought Su Fong to the hall and sat down, sighing, "My grandson has a bitter life. His parents passed away when he and his sister were just born. That time, someone entered the valley to snatch Goo, and I was not in the valley, causing them to lose their lives. I have spoiled these two children since young. To think that when they grew up, they became too arrogant and did not know the immensity of heaven and earth. I also lost my parents when I was young. I can more or less understand his thoughts. Thankfully, I reunited with my father not long ago and have truly accepted it. They will understand." Su Fong consoled from the bottom of his heart. Goo Venerable was stunned, seemingly not expecting Su Fong to have such an experience. Thus, he let him go back and rest. After some time, they would exchange their cultivation experiences. Su Fong was brought to a wooden building by a servant and immediately started cultivating. Although he was at Heaven Union 8th layer, in this world, he was still a complete weakling. Several days later, Goo Venerable came to see Su Fong as expected. During this period, he also came to see Su Fong a few times to exchange cultivation methods without golden core. Actually, Goo Venerable had a golden core, but the method was different. He was in a state of losing his golden core and possessing it. His golden core was devoured by some pill protection goo, and the goo worms became his golden core. As long as the pill protection goo was around, he could continue cultivating. Su Fong's situation was completely different. His golden core was completely shattered, and he could only rely on himself to cultivate. But Goo Venerable lost the cultivation experience of the initial stage of golden core, which was of great significance to Su Fong, because he was at this stage now. About 2 months later, Su Fong bade farewell to Goo Venerable, at the same time asking for a map of Spirit Sex Ruins. Goo Venerable also guessed that he wanted to go there, but did not say anything. Su Fong could establish himself in a mortal sealing sect. Naturally, he could also explore Spirit Sex Ruins. Night. Deep in the mountains 100 miles south of Goo King Valley, Su Fong was resting and studying the map. This trip to Spirit Sex Ruins would take about 20 Goo Venerable. They would leave Red Sky Continent in 7 to 8 days and arrive at Spirit Sex Ruins in 10 days. This was the speed of nonstop flying. If they still needed to cultivate along the way and met with some unexpected situations, they would need at least a month to arrive. In the middle of the night, Su Fong, who was half asleep, suddenly heard 2 sounds of wind. They seemed to be coming from the same direction as him, and were also heading south. Moreover, he used his perfect hearing and heard a young girl's voice. "Second brother, don't be afraid. Even if grandfather doesn't stand up for you, sister will take revenge for you. Sister loves me so much. They stole my pill protection goo. I must get it back and let them know the power of Goo King Valley." Another familiar voice of a young man was heard. Qiziang, what a coincidence! He was deeply shocked and surprised because he could tell that the young man was the young master of Gu King Valley, Qiziang. Although he was not familiar with him, Gu Venerable mentioned him frequently. Sister, that is Gu Venerable's granddaughter, Qizi Xian. Gu Venerable should be watching them. It seems that they have sneaked out of Gu King Valley and are going to Spirit Sect's ruins. After thinking for a while, he waited for the siblings to leave for a while before he made a decision. He jumped up and quietly followed behind. After a few breaths, Su Fong saw the siblings' back view. It seemed that they were very anxious and wanted to leave Gu King Valley. Sister, do you think grandfather will take revenge for me this time and send experts to Spirit Sect's ruins to find me? Yes. Grandfather loves you and me the most. That's great. The siblings did not notice that someone was following them. They were still thinking about immature ideas. Gu King Valley, they're gone. Zixin is gone too. In the middle of the night, several experts gathered in the hall. Gu Venerable was so angry that his face was red. I have already taken back Ziyang's token. It seems that Zixin took him away. The younger brother is insensible. How can she be so willful as his sister? Master, let's go after them immediately. They must have gone to Spirit Sect's ruins. An expert said, all right, you guys go to Spirit Sect's ruins first. While you're at it, take some goo poison that has just matured and trade it. You can only protect their lives. Don't worry about anything else. It's better to let them suffer. Gu Venerable felt a headache coming on. More than 10 days later, after the southern borderland of the Crimson Firmament continent, they welcomed a boundless ocean. Ride on the flying sword. We have to fly for a few days before we can reach some islands where we can land. A young woman and a young man flew out from the last mountain range of the continent. It was Qiziang and Qizi Xian. Above the ocean, the two rode on their flying swords and flew 100 feet above the ocean's surface. The world is indeed infinitely big. Su Fong followed closely behind. He also rode on a flying sword and floated in the sea breeze. Looking at the vast ocean, he had no idea how big the world was. At this moment, he could see cultivators flying into the ocean from time to time. It seemed that the number of cultivators entering and leaving the Crimson Firmament continent was not small. This was good too. There was no need to worry about danger. It meant that this was also a place where cultivators frequently traveled. The ocean was not the same. Worried about the siblings, Su Fong used his great perfection stage, hearing, to follow them into the deep ocean. Chapter 179. The ocean was not like the land, where there would always be coordinates. In the ocean, one could only follow the general direction until they found the island on the map. A few days later, Su Fong followed the siblings to an island. This island was very different. It was not an abandoned island, but one controlled by the Supreme God Sect. In other words, starting from here, one would enter the Supreme God Sect's territory, which was also close to the Spirit Sect's ruins. The island was not small, and there were disciples of the Supreme God Sect patrolling it. The cultivators coming and going would rest in the caves built on the island, and then go to the various forces in the ocean. Su Fong chose a cave that was closer to Qiziang and his brother. At present, this place was very orderly, and there were all cultivators he did not recognize. There were Heaven Merge Realm, Longevity Realm, and naturally, there were also Undying Realm experts. There were even some powerful existences whose auras could not be seen. The difference in strength was so big, but there was no fighting or killing. The only explanation was that no matter which expert came to the Supreme God Sect's territory, they had to follow the rules of the Supreme God Sect. These experts must be like Su Fong, geniuses and experts of some forces, but they all hid their identities and came to this world of ruins. After resting for 2 days, the siblings continued, and Su Fong followed behind. A few more days passed, and they gradually saw a large continent. At first, it was like a piece of wood, but later, it became a continent with no end in sight. The Spirit Sect's ruins. It's been 10,000 years, and this king can come here again. Green Feather King could also see the Spirit Sect's ruins. In the past, there was a powerful sect here called the Spirit Sect. Its history was similar to the Ziwe Star Sect, about 30,000 years. Unfortunately, it was destroyed in the end, and the Spirit Sect turned into dust. If the Spirit Sect was still here, it would definitely become the #1 force in the Crimson Firmament continent. Spirit Sect. This was like the Zhao country of the past, which would always be replaced by history. Green Feather King suddenly reminded, "You have to be careful in the Spirit Sect's ruins. You might encounter true experts from other small worlds. There are also experts from other small worlds." Other worlds? Isn't that the same as a cultivator from another world? Of course, and it's not just one or two. Zhuotian world's experts will go to other minor worlds once they reach the imperishable realm. There are also a small number of undead realm experts who travel to other minor worlds. If Zhuotian world's cultivators can go to those minor worlds, why can't they come here? There are even some outer world forces who establish their own forces in Zhuotian world, or cultivators from other worlds who enter Zhuotian world to cultivate and join major forces. For example, the Celestial Sealing Sect and the Ziwe Star Sect are very famous in other minor worlds. Every minor world has its own unique resources, and when cultivators need resources, they will come to the Zhuotian world to look for them. This is very natural. Some experts come to the Zhuotian world to gain experience. Of course, there are even more experts who like to go to those ruined minor worlds, such as the Human Emperor world or those undiscovered primeval worlds. Those worlds have even more treasures, and they are all huge treasures. Green Feather King suddenly raised his voice. "These are still too far away for you." This king almost forgot. "You should buy some human blood goo from Goo King Valley." Venomous human blood, he really didn't know what it was used for. You are now at the Heavenly Union realm, and are about to break through to the Longevity realm. Our demon race and devil race cultivators will use all kinds of methods in advance to extract the immortal blood and indestructible blood from immortal and indestructible experts to cultivate. They will refine the immortal blood and indestructible blood in their bodies in advance to strengthen their bodies, allowing their bodies to possess the power of immortal and indestructible. You humans use goo worms the most, and Devil Dao experts mostly use goo worms. Only experts like Polo True Devil would choose to use the Devil Infant Marrow cleansing technique to absorb the essence blood of powerful experts. Human blood goo is used to assist in cultivation. Don't look down on the goo Dao. Those goo cultivators have many ways to raise their cultivation, and the human blood goo is one of them. The price of a human blood goo is very shocking in the Supreme God sect. It is about the same as an ordinary high-grade artifact. If you know Goo Master, you can buy one at a low price. In the future, you will have the chance to imprison immortal and indestructible experts or longevity experts and cultivate their bodies first. Many thanks for the reminder, Senior. It seemed that after coming to the ruins of the Spirit Sect, he would have to go to Goo King Valley alone after returning. After talking for a while, the vast ruins of the Spirit Sect appeared in front of him. The name of the ruins. Looking at the entire continent, although there were forests, there were not many shocking mountain ranges. It seemed that the forest and the ground formed a bumpy shape. Some places were also barren, and some places had bottomless abyss. Moreover, it should be left behind by divine ability battles. Looking ahead, Qi Ziyong and Qi Zishuan were flying towards the depths of the ruins. After flying for a while, Su Fong saw many ruins left behind by battles. Senior, could it be that the Spirit Sect was destroyed by humans? Green Feather Monarch sighed and said, "No one can say for sure. 30,000 years. There is not a single demon that can live for 30,000 years, let alone humans. Even great forces with long histories like the Ziwe Star Sect can't say exactly how the Spirit Sect was destroyed. These are all things of the past, and no one will know the secrets within. 10,000 years. Humans had such a long lifespan, but how many people could there be? 30,000 years. It was impossible for humans to have such a long lifespan. Even demons would find it difficult. What a shocking straight line that goes deep into the ruins. A day later, the two siblings slowed down and flew towards the ground. Su Fong saw a huge chasm in the ground. It seemed to have been cleaved by a saber, and it was so deep that he couldn't see the bottom. It seemed that this attack had almost split this continent apart. Below us is the ruin market. The supreme god sex experts are scattered throughout the continent. No one dares to cause trouble here, said Green Feather Monarch. Looking down, they immediately saw layers of formations. Although the formations weren't very powerful, they were still surrounded by mist. It made this ruin market seem like a cultivation holy land. But outside of this chasm, the spiritual chi in the rest of the spirit sect continent was thin. It was about the same as a small territory like the Zhao Empire. As the two siblings flew deeper into the market, they found that this place was not like the ruins above. Instead, it was prosperous. It was like the capital of an imperial palace. There was an endless stream of people and carriages. Below them was a city, a huge city built along the chasm. They could see banners with the supreme god sex name on them everywhere. They could sense all kinds of auras here. As expected, devil chi and demonic chi were mixed together. Furthermore, they could even see some devil path cultivators and demons in human form. They were moving through the crowd without the slightest scruple. There was no difference between righteous and corrupt. The streets were filled with shops of different sizes, but the items they sold were all shocking. They were practically all things that had never been seen in the immortal sealing sex 7 Injuries Peak. For example, there were some devil path experts who sold treasures from both the devil path and the righteous path. As for the demons, they sold treasures from humans. Su Fong's horizons were truly broadened. There were all kinds of people here, and most of the cultivators here were hiding their identities. Qi Zi Xuan and Qi Zi Ong were very familiar with the market. Soon, they came to a large inn to rest. Su Fong continued to wander around the market. He saw many strange things. There were also demon race treasures. Green Feather King hoped to find some powerful magic treasures. Su Fong also wanted to find some demon race magic treasures for Junior Commander and Bai Ling, but he hadn't found any suitable ones yet. Someone is secretly watching the siblings. When Su Fong arrived at the inn, there were 2 experts. One was an undead realm expert, and the other was a longevity realm expert. They were wandering around the room. Carefully listening to their conversation, he learned that the 2 were experts from Gu King's Valley. As it turned out, the 2 siblings had just entered the market when they were discovered by Gu King's Valley. Because Gu King's Valley had cooperated with several large merchant guilds in this market, they could be considered a powerful force. Finding Qi Ziong and Qi Zi Xuan was a simple matter. Originally, I wanted to protect the siblings. Presumably, Gu King's Valley had already made arrangements. This is good. With Gu King's Valley's strength, they can definitely ensure their safety. Su Fong immediately went to a deserted place. He used the bone-shifting technique and transformed into a new face. He didn't want Gu King's Valley's people to know of his existence, as well as the immortal sealing sex experts. The spirit sex ruins were very close to the Crimson Firmament continent. Who knew how many immortal sealing sex experts were hiding here? After doing all this, Su Fong asked for a room. He wanted to cultivate here for a while and understand the market clearly. He gave some benefits to the waiter, and the waiter told him everything. The market was under the control of the Supreme God Sect. It turned out that a certain scale of an underground market had formed 10,000 years ago. There were several large forces and experts here. Later, they cooperated with each other and chose an alliance leader to establish the Supreme God Sect. After many years of development, the Supreme God Sect had become a powerful force. They had branches on various continents and islands. The Supreme God Sect reigned supreme here. Disciples of the immortal sealing sect and the Ziwei Star Sect were like dragons coiling up and tigers crouching down. Of course, this didn't mean that the Supreme God Sect was stronger than the other forces. It was because this was the Spirit Sect's ruins. The Supreme God Sect had operated here for 10,000 years. They must be very powerful. The other forces wouldn't really fall out with the Supreme God Sect for a disciple. Moreover, the Supreme God Sect had secret connections with many other forces. It was said that the Supreme God sect had also infiltrated other small worlds. As the rumor spread, the Supreme God sect became even more mysterious. They were truly a huge crocodile. In the market, the large merchant associations were directly under the control of the Supreme God sect. Most of the small merchant associations rented territory from the Supreme God sect. Every year, they had a hand over an astonishing amount of pure essence pills or spirit stones. Because this was the largest underground market in the Zhuotian domain, it was naturally a rich place. Taxes were nothing. After resting for a few days, he was considering what treasures to look for. Suddenly, Green Feather King said, "Little fellow, you have to find me a powerful demon item. This king has been suppressed for 10,000 years, and his life has been injured. But with the junior commander and the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda's power, this king's recovery will be slow. The stronger this king is, the more likely you'll be able to become a supreme expert in a short time." "Where is your treasure?" asked Su Fong curiously. "This king's treasure is called the Great Divine Sealing Staff. It's a king-grade enchanted item. Unfortunately, it's sealed in the Immortal Sealing Sect's treasury. I'll take back the Great Divine Sealing Staff in the future." Is Senior Daojin Fox Mother's lost treasure in the Immortal Sealing Sect? It's possible, but it's also impossible. Daojin Fox Mother had some enmity with the Immortal Sealing Sect. But as for what happened later, this king doesn't know. You'll know when you come into contact with the Immortal Sealing Sect's treasury. Then tomorrow, Junior will go to the Merchant Association opened by the Monster Race's experts to find treasures for Senior. I'll also ask Xian Huang what other materials he needs to fully recover. Su Fong happily agreed to Green Feather King's request. At the same time, he began to communicate with the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda to see what materials Xianhuang needed. Chapter 180. Master, Xianhuang needs 3 main materials. One is gold and silver, one is origin jade, and the last is Xianhuang stone. Yuan Ling immediately got the answer. Gold and silver origin, jade Xuanhuang, stone Su Fong frowned. Gold and silver are easy to get, but it takes a long time to buy them. But I've never heard of origin jade and Xianhuang stone. Origin jade is the most precious gem among jade stones. It takes tens of thousands of years to form. It's used to refine tools, and it's used to refine high-grade and king-grade magic treasures. Each piece is a rare commodity. Big powers might have some, but it's not easy to get them. Xianhuang explained. Xianhuang stone is even rarer. It comes from a distant small world called Xianhuang World. Xianhuang World. Clearly, Xianhuang stone could only be found in Xianhuang World. Xianhuang, could you be for Xianhuang World? Su Fong asked curiously. Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda, Xianhuang World? Was it not related? Actually, I'm not sure. Only Xian, who refined me, knows. But it's also possible that Xian collected a large amount of Xianhuang stone and refined me. And I don't know where Xianhuang World is. Xianhuang was also confused. He could only ask King Green Feather. Xianhuang World is indeed recorded in ancient books, but it's a very distant world. There's almost no immortal strength there, so you can't reach there. Also, I heard that some small worlds can move in the universe. Who knows where Xianhuang World is now? From this king's experience, Xianhuang stone should be sold in the Zhuotian realm or nearby small worlds. King Green Feather quickly answered, but even he wasn't satisfied with his answer. Only the legendary realm lord can reach such a distant small world. And Xianhuang World is incomparably far away. Plus, if it's a mobile world, then even the realm lord can't reach it. Realm lord that was in existence on par with immortals. Xianhuang stone, Xianhuang World. It was unimaginable. They could only buy Xianhuang stone. Fortunately, Xianhuang World wasn't badly damaged, so they didn't need a large amount of Xianhuang stone. However, in order to purchase the mysterious yellow stone, one must have astonishing wealth. Moreover, it was not the wealth that the Celestial Union Realm, Longevity Realm, or Undying Realm could possess, but the Imperishable Realm. This meant that he had to reach the imperishable realm before he could collect the profound yellow stone or leave the Zhuotian realm to search for it in other small worlds. For now, he had to first collect origin jade stones and find a magic treasure for Green Feather King to assist in his cultivation. Early the next morning, Su Fong arrived at the market. "I don't have any origin jade stones. How can a small place like mine have such high-grade gems?" He had hoped to find some primal jade stones in the small merchant guilds, but none of the small merchant guilds had any. He came to a shop that specialized in selling demon race treasures. This was a chamber of commerce opened by a demon race expert. Once one entered the chamber of commerce, the primordial chaos saints within their bodies would act strangely in front of a few burly men. It seemed to want to burn them all to death. If Su Fong had not controlled the primordial chaos sacred realm, the peerless divine weapon would have incinerated all the demon clan experts in the Chamber of Commerce in an instant. "Human, we mostly have demon race items here. What do you want?" A green-skinned man couldn't tell what kind of demon he was. He only knew that his strength surpassed Dao Wuliang's. He didn't hold back and shouted at Su Fong from afar. "I'm helping someone find a demon race treasure." Su Fong directly stated his intentions. Demons were not like humans. Although they were cunning, they weren't too scheming. With business coming, the demon led Su Fong to introduce one demon race treasure after another. In truth, demon race treasures were similar to human treasures. It was just that their appearances were very different. Some were bones, some were fangs, some were swords, and some were boulders. In short, they came in all shapes and sizes. As for human treasures, most were weapons. In the end, after looking around, Su Fong didn't find a treasure that Green Feather King was satisfied with, so he left. After that, he went to several other chambers of commerce, but he still didn't find one that he was satisfied with. Arriving in New Market Street, Green Feather King suddenly indicated for Su Fong to stop. "This is the Heaven Diamond Chamber of Commerce. This is the Chamber of Commerce opened by my old enemy, the Heaven Diamond Rat Emperor." Su Fong turned to look. As expected, this was the Heaven Diamond Chamber of Commerce. It seemed the Heaven Diamond Rat Emperor was living a much more carefree life than Dao Zhan Fox Mother and Green Feather King. Dao Zhan Fox Mother could only live in a small territory in the Dark Forest. 10,000 years ago, Green Feather King had been suppressed by the immortal sealing gate and was now in hiding. But the Heaven Diamond Rat Emperor was different. He could still establish a chamber of commerce in the ruins of the spirit sect. Entering the Heaven Diamond Chamber of Commerce, he saw that the demon race experts were all either gold or black. Furthermore, their eyes were sharp. Su Fong was chatting with Green Feather King, learning more about the Heaven Diamond Chamber of Commerce. Suddenly, he was startled. The Heaven Diamond Rat Emperor's relationship with Dao Zhan Fox Mother isn't bad. They should both be able to drill holes. That's why their relationship isn't bad. Green Feather King intentionally mocked him. "It seems you're thinking about that little fox." She went to the Heaven Diamond Rat Emperor's place. Since Dao Zhan Fox Mother's relationship with the Heaven Diamond Rat Emperor isn't bad, and Dao Wuliang killed an important disciple of the immortal sealing gate, then even if his identity as a demon race expert hasn't been exposed, he should have found a place to hide for a while. Perhaps the Heaven Diamond Rat Emperor's place is the most likely. "Little fellow, you're pretty clear-headed. Most likely, she's with the rats. Rats are born to dig holes. That's their innate talent. That's why this king was suppressed by the immortal sealing gate. As for the Heaven Diamond Rat Emperor and Dao Zhan Fox Mother, they're living well because they can both dig holes." Green Feather Monarch was like a child when he heard about the monster race experts, especially the Sky Drill Rat Monarch. "Let's not talk about that. This Chamber of Commerce has a treasure. Go take a look." Green Feather King seemed to have noticed something. He had Su Fong walk over to one of the shelves. A treasure chest appeared before Su Fong's eyes. Inside the treasure chest was an irregularly shaped stone. It was brownish yellow in color, and Su Fong did not know what it was. Xian Huang said, "Master, this is a very primitive magical treasure. Its demon chi is shocking. It should be the demon core left behind by some demon race expert after he died. It's a magical treasure, but it's also not a magical treasure. It's definitely a good thing. If a demon race expert obtains it, they can condense their divine sense and cultivate. If they refine it, they can fuse it with their physical body, increasing their physical body's toughness. Green Feather King laughed. Yes, it's a demon core, and it was left behind by a powerful big goblin. It must have been collected by one of the Heaven Diamond Rat Emperor's subordinates. It's impossible to see the essence of this demon core. Not every big goblin can leave behind a demon core like this after they die. You want this? A golden-haired woman walked over. Her appearance was astonishing, and she was naturally seductive. Su Fong knew her identity. This stone isn't bad. It can be embedded into a magical treasure as a decoration. How much is it? Asked Su Fong. 10,000 high-grade spirit stones, or 30,000 pure primordial pills. The golden-haired woman didn't have the slightest good impression of this human. Less. All right. In the end, Su Fong bought the demon core for 23,000 pure primordial pills. As for this demon core's true price, it should be around 100,000 pure primordial pills. Su Fong had picked up a treasure for free. Even a big goblin wouldn't be able to see through such a treasure unless the Heaven Diamond Rat Emperor's true body came. If the Heaven Diamond Rat Emperor knew it was so cheap and that it had fallen into Green Feather King's hands, it would be so infuriated that it wouldn't be able to sleep for days. He also saw several magical treasures suitable for junior commanders. Su Fong bought them all, and the price was even higher than the demon core. He chose a White Peak middle-grade flying sword for Bai Ling. It was only half a foot long, but once it shot out of its mouth, its power would be limitless. With Su Fong's current strength and wealth, he could only buy a middle-grade item. As for high-grade items, they were practically sky-high. Furthermore, his pure primordial pills weren't limitless. He still had to buy Yuan Jade Stones and profound yellow stones. Let alone profound yellow stones. Even buying Yuan Jade Stones was difficult. Green Feather King also wanted a magical treasure. But the magical treasures he wanted had to be high-grade at the very least. Seeing Su Fong's poor appearance, he could only give up. He sighed. Kid, you have to refine pills yourself. Your body is filled with pure yang energy, so you have the advantage of refining pure yang pills. This king also refined some ordinary pills in the past. I can see that you're full of resources. If an imperishable realm expert had your yang energy, they would have long since refined a large amount of pure yang pills. The quality and medicinal energy would be countless times better than pure primordial pills. When it came to refining pills, Su Fong began to worry about Xiao Mer. He didn't know how she was doing. Indeed, he very much agreed with Green Feather King's suggestion. If he didn't refine pills, he would have to give others something to use against him. Did he have to lower his head and ask the immortal ceiling sect for more? None of that was realistic. Thinking about it, his heart suddenly brightened. How about I use my current wealth to buy Yuan Jade Stones and a pill cauldron? In a cultivator's life, they must master one of the two great refining techniques, either pill concoction or artifact forging. Pill concoction is the most important as it requires artifact forging in every aspect. Pills concocted can be consumed by oneself or sold. Moreover, the materials for pill concoction are easier to find than for artifact forging. Then I'll refine pills. In the future, I'll have to ask Senior to help me. Su Fong didn't stand on ceremony. With such an old antique's guidance, he didn't need to look at the immortal ceiling sect for formations, runes, cultivation, or refining pills. Supreme God Trading Company, this was the largest trading company in the ruins market. It was also the only official trading company. Because Supreme God Sect was the ruler, they even sold king-grade artifacts. It depended on whether you had money or were a big landlord. If you were a loser, you could only watch from afar. Entering the trading company, the first thing was the atmosphere. The second thing was that there were many people. There were too many people. Most of them were righteous path cultivators. About a tenth of them were devil path cultivators or demon race experts in human form. There were men and women, and their cultivations ranged from the Heaven Union realm to the Undying realm. There were also some whose cultivation couldn't be seen. They should be the legendary imperishable realm experts. Let alone imperishable realm experts. Even if they didn't die here, they would still be existences like emperors. You need Yuan Jade Stones. Su Fong found a corner and asked a young Supreme God Sect disciple. The Supreme God Sect disciple didn't understand. He sized up Su Fong in bewilderment and pointed up. Yuan Jade Stones are precious items. They need to be traded in the hall above. The items being traded below are all very common. Many thanks. So that was the case. No wonder he had an extra eye to look at him. There were only 3 floors in the trading company. The first floor was the hall. The second floor was for high-grade items. The third floor was for treasures. They were all high-grade enchanted items, top-grade spirit stones, gems, some imperishable realm runes, all kinds of divine ability seeds or golden cores. There were also Devil Path Cultivators magic treasures, items, and Demon Race magic treasures. The Supreme God Sect really sold everything, and they were all very precious resources. The first thing Su Fong did was buy something. After buying it, he looked around the third floor. This place was simply a treasure trove. It was like a sect's forbidden treasure trove. He couldn't just let it go like this. Su Fong found a Supreme God Sect disciple who was free and asked him to buy Yuan Jade Stones. The other party didn't look at Su Fong's cultivation base. Those who could come here were all people with backgrounds. This is a Yuan Jade Stone. The other party took out a treasure box. Inside it was a fist-sized crystal. Chapter 181. There were many kinds of jade. When they had first entered the Immortal Sealing Sect, Su Fong and Dao Wuyong had also worked as polishers. Seeing this piece of jade, they could only describe it in one word: perfect. It was oval-shaped, a bit smaller than a child's palm. For a stone to be so smooth, it must have gone through many layers of polishing. Just polishing this piece of stone would take a long time. Looking at the color of the stone, it wasn't pure translucent. It was as white jade, with a bit of crystalline light within. The Supreme God Sect's disciple was dressed in black. His waist, sleeves, and collar had 7 colors. He introduced, Origin Jade is a rare existence among jade stones. It's like the essence of a jade stone. It takes 10,000 years to form, and it's naturally perfect. It also contains a shocking amount of jade essence energy. Some Origin Jade stones can form jade essence under certain conditions. When he said the price, Su Fong was stunned. It would cost at least 100,000 undying pure yuan pills. Even an undying expert would find it hard to take out such a price. I'm afraid that if I take out all the resources I have, I'll only be able to get 1 or 2 Origin Jade stones. And if I want to restore Xian Huang's 6 Paths Pagoda, I'll need at least 100 of them. Shock. A sky-high price. A truly sky-high price. Su Fong only had 30,000 undying pure yuan pills. The rest were all longevity and heavenly fusion grade. In the end, it was only enough to buy a few Origin Jade stones. And for Xianhuang, 6 Paths Pagoda, it was simply a drop in the bucket. In the end, he gave up. He might as well buy a pill cauldron. What kind of pill cauldron do you want? Seeing Su Fong's dilemma, the Supreme God Sect disciple didn't mind. After all, this kind of treasure wasn't something anyone could swallow. If you want to refine pills with your realm, you could buy a mid-grade pill cauldron. Even if you enter the Undying realm, you can use a mid-grade pill cauldron to refine Undying pills. And once you enter the Longevity realm, you can use a pill cauldron to refine longevity pills. Refining heavenly fusion pills won't be a problem. Su Fong couldn't make up his mind. In the end, he asked King Greenfeather. When Greenfeather King gave the answer, Su Fong troubled the disciples of the Supreme God Sect to look for a middle-grade magic tool cauldron. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, the man returned with a treasure box. Inside was a pill cauldron, a 3-legged cauldron. It was about 1 foot tall and was made of bronze with a tinge of dark green. There were many true runes around it, and it had 3 legs and a sheep's head. This is the 3-yang cauldron, a mid-grade pill cauldron. It's probably a mid-grade enchanted artifact. It's an ordinary treasure and can refine 100 pills at once. The price is 1 million pure, undying essence pills. We could give you a discount, 900,000 pure, undying essence pills. We also have other advantages here. You can use other items to exchange for it. 900,000 immortal pure origin pills. Actually, it was not considered a sky-high price. But to a heavenly union realm or longevity realm, this was a sky-high price. No wonder Xiao Mei wanted to think of a way to take back the pill cauldron from the Zhao country. Sure, but can we find a private room? Su Fong insisted. The other party brought Su Fong to the first floor and inner door. Inside, there was a strange space. The three-yang cauldron was generously placed on the table. The other party wasn't worried and just waited for Su Fong to take out enough resources. Su Fong took out 30,000 undying pure yang pills, as well as a large number of pure origin pills from over 1,000 disciples. About half of them were pure origin pills. The Supreme God Sect disciples calculated that they only had a small portion. Su Fong then took out countless spirit stones. The majority of them were low-grade and mid-grade spirit stones. High-grade spirit stones were only a portion. There were also thousands of enchanted treasures. Most of them were low-grade enchanted artifacts, but there were a few hundred mid-grade enchanted artifacts. Such shocking treasures, pure origin pills, and spirit stones were naturally obtained from over 1,000 disciples at 7 Injuries Peak. That's about it. Our Supreme God Sect's business doesn't necessarily require high-grade resources. Ordinary resources are fine too. After all, everyone's needs are different. The resources that were piled up into a mountain were most of the resources that Su Fong possessed. His bag only had a small portion of pure origin pills left. He didn't have any spirit stones, nor did he have most of his enchanted artifacts. He only had various spiritual items, spirit grasses, and gems. Even when added together, it wasn't a large amount. He could use it to buy other spirit grasses to refine pills. This time, he had gone from being a tycoon to a loser. Fortunately, he had obtained the three-yang cauldron. Stroking it excitedly, he immediately put it into his bag. Once the business was done, the Supreme God Sect disciples handed over the resources to other experts. They became polite. Is there anything else you need? I bought the three-yang cauldron to refine pills. Do you also accept medicinal pills? Su Fong directly revealed. Of course. We want as many pure origin pills as you have. A portion of our pure origin pills are refined by our sect's pill refining experts, while the other portion is obtained through trade. Pure origin pills have already surpassed spirit stones. They have become the currency of the Ewa heaven world and the other minor worlds. Do you have profound yellow stone here? Wait a moment. The Supreme God Sect clearly had too many items, so this expert couldn't give Su Fong an answer. He closed his eyes and rested. After half an incense stick's worth of time, he replied, We do, but we only have a few. We only have a few dozen pieces, and they're all very ordinary. This kind of profound yellow stone is a material used to refine important magical treasures. But it's not a necessary material, so not many people want it. But the price is very shocking, far surpassing that of a yuan jade stone. That's because profound yellow stone can't be found in the Ewa heaven world. Our Supreme God Sect's profound yellow stone comes from other sources. Many thanks. If I have the ability in the future, I will definitely come and buy it. This is my rune talisman. If you really want to refine pills and sell them, you can just activate it when you come to the Supreme God Trading Company. The Supreme God Sect disciple escorted Su Fong away. Before leaving, he took out a rune talisman. Su Fong didn't leave. Instead, he returned to the 3rd floor to broaden his horizons. There were over 100 high-grade enchanted items, as well as all kinds of peak-grade spirit stones, undead pure origin pills, and all kinds of medicinal pills. Su Fong also saw a special rune talisman, especially a king-grade enchanted item. The Supreme God Trading Company only had 3 king-grade enchanted items. Each of them was a treasure among treasures. They were all peerless treasures, but they still couldn't compare to the true Devil Blood Plate and the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda. He estimated that these 3 king-grade enchanted items were just ordinary existences among king-grade enchanted items. The true Devil Blood Plate was refined by the Devil race, and the Xianwang's Six Paths Pagoda was incomparably powerful. These two treasures were both peerless treasures. There were also cultivation methods of various powers here. There were also several great divine abilities of the immortal sealing sect, but only the first 3 layers of cultivation methods. There wasn't a complete set of cultivation methods. The Devil sect also had cultivation methods, and so did the Devil race. If you were a big landlord, you could buy any resources you wanted here. At night, in the inn, the first thing Su Fong did after returning was to check the 3 Yang cauldron. In the first layer of Xianwang, the Blue Feather King was cultivating the demon core he had bought. He separated his attention and looked at the 3 Yang cauldron with Su Fong. It's medium grade, not the best of medium grade, but it's enough to refine pills. You have Blue Fiend, True Fire, and Spirit Fire. It's much easier for you to refine pills than others. This treasure is enough for you to use in the immortal realm, undead realm, and even the undead realm. But this king believes that at that time, you'll find an even better pill cauldron. Senior, please teach me some alchemy methods. Refining pills isn't difficult. The difficult part is the amount of ingredients needed to refine the pill, as well as the heat. Each pill has a different dosage formula. The quantity of the formula directly affects the pill's quality and medicinal energy. Pure Yuan pills are the same. For example, a Heavenly Fusion Pure Yuan pill has over a dozen ingredients, and the dosage is different. And at the Immortal Realm, there will be many more ingredients, but the dosage will also change, and the heat used to refine it will also be different. Your current problem is to determine what kind of pill you want to refine, and then find all kinds of ingredients that complement each other. Finally, you can decide on a pill formula. The pill formula is the detailed dosage of the ingredients. For example, the Pure Yuan pill's pill formula is extremely expensive. I remember that Mayor has a pill formula. Refining pills really wasn't easy. There was a Tao within a Tao. Su Fong first began to fuse with the 3 Yang cauldron. He still dripped blood, and then fused with layers of restrictions and hand seals. Fusing with a medium-grade enchanted item wasn't difficult. After a full month, Su Fong grasped the 3 Yang cauldron and began to discuss it with the Blue Feather King. A pill that used Yang energy as its main ingredient was similar to the Pure Yuan pill. The Blue Feather King knew that a primordial sage could produce Yang energy at any time. Using that as a foundation, he had Su Fong buy a few medicinal books. Inside, he found over 100 kinds of spirit herbs that contained Yang energy. Of course, the pill also needed to be fused with cold energy. Only by fusing yin and yang would it be a truly perfect pill. This king will pick out 3 pill formulas for you. Each pill formula contains close to 20 kinds of ingredients. In the next few days, find these 60 kinds of ingredients and then start refining pills. With your brain, 1 month is equivalent to a year or even 10 years for others. This king believes that within a few years, you will be able to become a beginner alchemist. Unfortunately, that Xiao Mayor left. If she had followed you into the immortal sealing sect, she would have been able to cooperate with you in refining pills. From a state of Zhao to the immortal sealing sect, it's a long journey. No one can predict what will happen. She has her own path, and you can't force her. I will also help her take back the cauldron from Zhao Wuji. In the past, he didn't know the importance of alchemists. Now that he knew, it was indeed a bit too late. But life was like this. There were reunions and separations. After spending a long time, Su Fong memorized dozens of spirit herbs, including each spirit herb's characteristics, medicinal properties, and so on. Only then did he start searching for ingredients in the ruins market. Fortunately, the ruins market had everything, and these spirit herbs were considered ordinary. The Blue Feather King was worthy of being an old antique. Knowing that Su Fong was only a Heavenly Union cultivator, he didn't take out a pill formula with his ability. It took him half a year to collect all the ingredients. Many chambers of commerce only had a few, or one, or very few. Unknowingly, a year had passed since he came to the ruins market. In the inn's room, Su Fong was grinding medicine. He ground the ingredients in a powder and put them separately. Alchemy was a delicate job, comparable to needlework. It had to be done step by step. After a while, this king will teach you the art of puppetry. You have to refine a few green fiend true fire puppets to refine pills for you. Otherwise, if you focus on alchemy, how will you cultivate in the future? After you familiarize yourself with alchemy, you can get the junior commanders to help you refine pills. That will be much more convenient. Shenwang's 6 Paths Pagoda is very useful. Not to mention 600,000 junior commanders. Even if you find 100,000 junior commanders, once you use their power, you will be an invincible existence in this small world. After a long time, under the Blue Feather King's guidance, Su Fong had a good grasp of the situation. However, then wasn't suitable for alchemy. After he finished his preparations and gathered all the ingredients he needed, he decided to leave the ruins market and find a place to refine pills in the ruins of the spirit sect. If he succeeded, he could come back to buy more ingredients and refine pills in large quantities. The Supreme God sect has a mission. That's right. Whoever can complete the mission this time will be rewarded with a high-grade artifact. When paying the bill, a lot of people suddenly surrounded the waiter. It seemed that something big had happened. Chapter 182. It's not a simple mission, right? Of course. Everyone knows that during the heaven and earth anomaly, there was a sudden movement in the ruins of the spirit sect. I heard that the spirit source seed left behind by the spirit sect 30,000 years ago broke out of the seal. The spirit source seed seems to have been left behind by the spirit sect 30,000 years ago. It has been preserved for tens of thousands of years. Rumor has it that the Supreme God sect has been searching for the treasures left behind by the spirit sect, as well as the divine abilities of the spirit sect. However, the divine abilities left behind by the spirit source seed are all incomplete. Only with the help of the spirit source seed can one cultivate. In short, a high-grade magic weapon as the reward is indeed not bad. Apart from the undead realm experts, anyone below the undead realm would be tempted. The location of the mission is the Fighting Soul Ruins. It should be where the spirit sect used to be. It's in the depths of the ruins of the spirit sect. It's also a sunken abyss. Many people were asking the waiter about it. The waiter also truthfully explained the mission of the Supreme God sect in front of everyone. In fact, everyone knew that the Supreme God sect had purposely let the waiter out to let them go to the Fighting Soul Ruins to find the spirit source seed. After hearing this, Su Fong was also quite tempted. A high-grade magic weapon. Wouldn't it be possible to exchange for some Origin Jade Stones, or directly use the 3-Yang Cauldron to exchange for a high-grade pill cauldron? If he only relied on financial resources, when would he be able to obtain Origin Jade Stones or a high-grade pill cauldron? A mid-grade pill cauldron was already extremely expensive, let alone a high-grade pill cauldron. Whether or not he could find the spirit source seed, he should try his luck. After confirming the location of the Fighting Soul Ruins, Su Fong immediately set off. After leaving the ruins of the market, he used his perfection stage ability and discovered that at least 10 people were rushing towards the Fighting Soul Ruins. After rushing for more than a day, he indeed saw a fog-covered forest. After entering the depths of the forest, he saw an endless stretch of ruins. The deeper he went into the ruins, the closer he got to the ground. Hearing a lot of movements, he saw cultivators continuously moving towards the depths. Su Fong carefully looked at the Fighting Soul Ruins. It seemed that the destruction of the spirit sect was not a natural disaster, but a disaster. Many places were torn open with bottomless ravines. The Supreme Deity sect had been established here for more than 10,000 years. They would definitely have obtained the treasures, techniques, and supernatural powers left behind by the spirit sect. This time, they were able to take out a high-grade magic weapon as a reward in exchange for the seed of the spiritual source. This was enough to prove this point. Furthermore, it also proved that the seed of the spiritual source was not easy to obtain. Thinking about it, the Supreme God sect was a big power and they must have a lot of disciples. But this time, they sent outsiders to search for them. This was really thought-provoking. Unknowingly, he felt that he had arrived at a dark and damp area 1,000 feet below the ground. There were many large trees with twisted roots growing here, but unfortunately, they were all dark green or dark green. There was almost no light here. Amidst the ruins, he could vaguely make out some exquisite carvings. This must have been a very important training ground of the spirit sect back in the day. Whoosh! Several figures flew directly over the Su Fong. They also saw the Su Fong, but they did not care and continued to go deeper. The seed of the spiritual source will not be on the surface of the ruins. It should be in some very deep area of the Earth's core. The seed of the spiritual source is the foundation of a sect and is protected by layers of power. Usually, it is built in the depths of the Earth's core and is protected by countless seals. When the spirit sect was destroyed, their energy was buried underground. And the phenomenon of heaven and earth caused a commotion, which means that something has been born or that someone has seized something here. The Green Feather King told Su Fong his experience and intuition. The latter also flew deeper and found a deep, damp ravine. He jumped down. This ravine was 3 feet wide and very straight. It should be the power of a supernatural power that directly cut down from above, creating such a deep ravine. What kind of power was this? Even with the power of a longevity realm cultivator, at most, he could only create a ravine that was a few hundred feet deep and less than 1 foot wide. The Supreme Deity sect should have searched here long ago. Therefore, Su Fong did not have any thoughts of encountering the treasures left behind by the spirit sect and directly descended into the depths. After reaching a depth of 1,000 feet, they actually encountered rolling underground lava. Moreover, the magma was not from the Earth's core. It surged up from another place and then fell down. When Su Fong reached the place where it fell, he found a huge, cylindrical pit in the Earth's core. Without waiting for him to come out, several cultivators also found this place and flew into the pit first. Not only these people, but soon a dozen more people came one after another. This circular pit in the Earth's core is very smooth and very vertical. It is not naturally formed. It should have been excavated by the spirit sect. The seed of the spiritual source should be somewhere in the depths, said the Green Feather King. Su Fong also followed. The other cultivators all fought to be the first. Everyone wanted to get the seed of the spiritual source. Fortunately, they did not attack each other. But if they really encountered the seed of the spiritual source, then it was hard to say. After another 100 feet, a vast, surging sea of magma appeared. It was not an exaggeration to describe it as an ocean. It was all magma. It seemed to be surging, but it was actually an illusion. It was burning wildly. Many cultivators came here, but they could not endure the high temperature. Some chose to leave. Some released their treasured armors or activated their magic weapons. Borrowing the power of their magic weapons, they slowly advanced into the depths of the sea of magma. If the spirit sect really left behind some secret space, it must be in the most spacious place. But the deeper they went, the more shocking the temperature was. Even the aura of their magic weapons was fluctuating. During this time, hundreds of strong cultivators rushed over. Among them, there were some undying realm cultivators. They were also forced by the heat waves, but their speed was several times faster than the longevity realm cultivators. Soon, they left Su Fong and the others behind. About 2 hours. For the longevity realm cultivators, it was undoubtedly like a year. They could not speed up and could only watch as at least dozens of undying realm cultivators flew into the depths. For some reason, the sea of magma suddenly surged. The burning flames sizzled, burning many heavenly union realm cultivators and turning them into living people on the spot. The longevity realm cultivators were also forced to leave. Su Fong activated the flesh fetus divine armor to resist the flames in time. When he focused his gaze, he was actually in a surging magma. He felt that the depths of the Earth's core had turned into a long river of flames. Moreover, he could not tell the direction at all. Green Feather King sighed solemnly. Oh no, so there's a formation left behind by the spirit sect here. It's an extraordinary formation. Even the Supreme God sect can't do anything about it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have set up this mission. They're taking a gamble to see if there are any strange people who can pass through this formation and get the spirit source seed. The Supreme God sect didn't force everyone. Since we want to get the treasure, we have to take the risk. I have to take back the empty bags of those heavenly Union Realm cultivators who were burned to death. What formation? He couldn't care less now. Even if he couldn't get the spirit source seed, he couldn't make a wasted trip. He saw a few spiritual lights surging in the magma. When he focused his eyes, it turned out to be empty bags. There were also a few flying swords flowing together. This magma formation has burned countless cultivators. There must be a lot of treasures in the magma abyss. Unfortunately, with my realm, I can't go deep into the magma world. Using the illusion cloud rope, he pulled back the empty bags and a few flying swords. Although they were heavenly Union Realm magic treasures, they were still resources. Let's go. There are puppets. There are puppets. The panic cries of many experts came from the burning magma river. Su Fong wanted to go over and take a look, but it was difficult to fly over the scorching heat waves. If he used the Fire Cloud Spirit Gourd, he could pass through, but there were many longevity realm or undying realm experts around. If he revealed his wealth in front of them, he might die without leaving even his bones behind. Whoosh! The magma on the left suddenly moved, and a fiery shadow appeared. Su Fong saw it and immediately understood why those experts were panicking. A burning person appeared in the fiery shadow. It was indeed a person, but it was a very clever puppet. Green Feather King was shocked. Oh no, the spirit sect is a great power. This king can see that these puppets are at least at the peak of the undying realm, as well as the destructive power of the undying realm. Let's go. Where to go? Su Fong was puzzled. He was surrounded by a burning magma formation. With his cultivation, it would be dangerous to continue crossing the magma. And at this time, a few more fiery puppets appeared, and they were all at the longevity realm. They numbly chased after him. Activate the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda, Green Feather King reminded. Xuanhuang Su Fong shouted in his heart, and a distorted pagoda shadow surged out of his right arm, enveloping Su Fong and sucking him into the door of the uppermost sixth floor. And the pagoda shadow gradually disappeared, turning into a foot-sized golden pagoda. Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. Not only that, the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda shrank again to the size of a finger. Master, Xianhuang is not a Dao artifact. If it was, it could turn into a speck of dust. The pagoda shrank, but Su Fong could not feel any changes in the space inside. This was the power of a king-grade magic artifact. Of course, the origin spirit was not satisfied with this. Under Su Fong's control, the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda merged with the burning flames, and the fiery puppets numbly floated, no longer chasing after Su Fong. Xianhuang proudly said, Master, these puppets can sense life auras. Master is hidden in Xuanhuang's body, so Xianhuang is isolated from the outside world. Master has disappeared into thin air, and these puppets can't do anything to Master. And Xianhuang is a magic artifact, so they can't sense it. This was the magical effect of a magic artifact. After decades of cultivation, this was the first time Su Fong used a magic artifact like this. It really made him click his tongue in wonder. A king-grade magic artifact was really capricious. It could suck people in and then use it to escape into any environment. Fortunately, this is the ruins of the spirit sect, not the Crimson Firmament continent. Otherwise, if you used the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda, you would have to worry about the Celestial Sealing sect sensing this king's aura. Green Feather King broke out in a cold sweat. Can I suppress these puppets? Su Fong communicated with Xianhuang. Xianhuang said, No, they have fused with the formation. Only when the formation is broken will they become ownerless objects. If Master wants to obtain these powerful puppets, you must break the formation in the depths of the Earth's core. But this formation is not simple. Since there's no need to worry about the puppets, there's no need to worry about the formation. Xianhuang, use your Violet Qi Law Spirit's advantage to sense the magic artifact's aura in the depths of the formation. I want to obtain the spirit source seed. If there's no other way, we'll leave. Master, did you forget that Xian Huang needs flame energy to repair itself? Master's cultivation base is too low, so you can't provide a large amount of flame energy. But this place is not bad. Xian Huang can use this chance to fuse with the gold and silver energy to repair some cracks. Right, how could I forget? All right, then we'll slowly approach the depths. The Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda was a magic artifact that did not fear flame energy. Su Fong had forgotten that. That was because the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda contained the power of metal, wood, water, fire, earth, and lightning. It also contained the power of fire. So when it came to the depths of the earth's core, it was like a fish in water. Xianhuang opened its 6 pagoda gates and crazily absorbed the heat waves. As for Su Fong, Green Feather King, the junior commander, and Bai Ling, they couldn't sense its aura. Through the tower door, Su Fong saw that mysterious yellow had sunk into the surging magma, and when he came down, he could not see the magma river array above. Below the magma, he could only see the rolling magma, and he was in the burning furnace world. Chapter 183. A King Grey Dharma Artifact. The Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda was only the size of a finger, but it could travel through the depths of the ruins. If it wasn't a King Grey Dharma artifact, even a high Grey Dharma artifact wouldn't be able to last that long. Mid and low Grey Dharma artifacts would quickly be incinerated in the lava. It wasn't hard to deduce that it would be extremely difficult for the Supreme God Sect to obtain the Spirit Sect's Spirit Source Seed. Not everyone had a King Grey Dharma artifact. Not every King Grey Dharma artifact could travel through the lava. Furthermore, King Grey Dharma artifacts were divided into different grades. Ordinary King Grey Dharma artifacts would be restricted by nature's power here. But the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda was a peak King Grey Dharma artifact. Even if it was damaged, it still possessed power that ordinary King Grey Dharma artifacts couldn't compare to. Su Fong went to the first layer of the lava world with Green Feather King, Fairy He, and the 3 junior commanders. They were all worried that the lava would flow in, and even Green Feather King would be incinerated. Lava this was the power of nature. Although Green Feather King was powerful, he couldn't ignore the laws of this minor world. There must be some shocking treasures in this ancient dimension left behind by the Spirit Sect. This dimension was created by a truly powerful expert, combined with the power of nature to create a spell formation. Not even the 10,000 gods seal from the House of Immortal Sealing can compare to this spell formation. The pagoda slowly advanced, absorbing the lava's flame, qi, to recover. During this time, they saw the uncanny workmanship of nature and peerless experts in the depths of this world. Green Feather King sighed repeatedly. It seems the Spirit Sect really is a giant. The Spirit Source Seed must be a peerless treasure. If I could obtain it, I definitely wouldn't give it to the Supreme God Sect. Wouldn't it be better to use it to cultivate my heart? At the same time, Su Fong took out the Flaming Cloud's spirit gourd. It floated in the Xianhuang space, absorbing the lava's natural flame qi. This miraculous place made Su Fong even more curious about the Spirit Source Seed. In the past 10,000 years, the Supreme God Sect had come here countless times to search for the Spirit Source Seed, but they had all been blocked by the lava's natural formation. Even if someone managed to obtain the Spirit Source Seed, they wouldn't be able to leave this place alive. Furthermore, most people wouldn't be able to enter the center of the formation. They would have died long ago. Even if the Spirit Sect was destroyed 30,000 years ago and its treasures were taken by others after 30,000 years, there must be spiritual flames, precious flame, attribute spirit stones, and other treasures in this world. Those treasures, you could take a portion of them. High-grade Dharma artifacts of heaven, of A. Since there was no threat to his life, Su Fong wasn't in a hurry. He cooperated with Xianhuang to use the illusory fire cloud and cultivate the green fiendish true fire. Xuanhuang's 6-level pagoda gate was constantly absorbing flames, and so was the flaming cloud spirit gourd. Now, even Su Fong was cultivating the two-flame attribute divine abilities. Furthermore, he could condense a large amount of green fiendish true fire and illusory fire cloud runes. In the future, he could use them to set up a formation. Gradually, he discovered that his cultivation base was also soaring. He was almost at the peak of heavenly fusion stage. Because of this lava world, the energy was constantly increasing. He wasted several days in the lava world. Xianhuang suddenly said, "Master, there's a special spiritual energy. The fire attribute spiritual energy is just ahead." The pagoda was like a mortal walking. Suddenly, Xianhuang discovered something. Su Fong also felt the temperature of the lava rising. They had already entered the deep space of the spirit sex ruins. There was still a great formation above. Who knew how many experts were trapped? Magic treasures could pass through below without being affected by the formation. Even undead and imperishable experts couldn't use magic treasures to pass through the depths of the lava world like Su Fong. It's the aura of a flame essence. Green Feather King also seemed to sense something unusual. Flame essence. It seems this lava world has formed a flame essence. Is it a treasure? Su Fong frowned. Of course it's a treasure. A Motherf *Cur's treasure. A flame essence is the fire energy of the heavens and earth, or material substance. After countless years of natural tempering, it has formed a spiritual essence, giving it a soul. If an alchemy grandmaster were to obtain it, they would be able to refine a high-grade magic tool, or even a king-grade magic tool. If an alchemy grandmaster were to obtain it, they would be able to use the flame essence to refine pills. Let's use you as an example. If you obtain a flame essence, you can absorb it into the flame cloud spirit gourd and slowly fuse it with the flame essence. Finally, the flame essence will become the spirit gourd's origin soul. Think about it. Once the flame cloud spirit gourd has an origin soul, it will reach the height of a king-grade magic treasure. Even if you don't absorb it into the flame cloud spirit gourd, you can still refine a flame essence puppet that can be used to attack or refine pills. Of course, the amount of flame essence that comes out is astonishing. With a flame essence, it will be much easier for you to stimulate your true flame and spirit flame. It can also assist you in cultivating a fire attribute divine ability. You can also trade a flame essence for a peak high-grade magic treasure, or even a king-grade magic treasure. Master, what the Punk King said is correct. If an expert obtains a flame essence, they can refine a fire attribute king-grade magic treasure with an origin soul. It can be used to cultivate a profound divine ability, create an avatar, or even cultivate a divine image. In short, there are many places where it can be used. Even Xianhuang's 6 Paths Pagoda was surprised by the existence of a flame essence. Su Fong's eyes went round. A treasure. This was truly a peerless treasure. What did a high-grade magic treasure count for? A king-grade magic treasure was a great treasure. But a king-grade magic treasure was dead, while a flame essence was alive. It had infinite uses. Is it a person? Xianhuang noticed something. It could see deeper into the magma than Su Fong and the others. It's a person, but there's no aura of life. After a while, Su Fong and Blue Feather King also saw the person Xianhuang was talking about. A person. A flame person. A fiercely burning flame person that was 30 meters tall. It was like a peerless fire attribute powerhouse was cultivating a great divine ability in the depths of a world of magma. His entire body was burning, and with a single breath, he could burn all things into ashes. Xianhuang concluded that this wasn't a person. Su Fong allowed it to continue approaching. As it slowly approached, it wasn't a person, but an abnormally strong human-shaped flame. Natural spirit flame. Blue Feather King enviously said, "Boy, your luck is too good. This is a natural spirit flame that has been the Earth's core magma for 30,000 years. Why don't you activate the flame cloud spirit gourd and absorb it?" In the past, he had been lucky enough to obtain a natural spirit flame, and now he had another. If he absorbed it into the flame cloud spirit gourd, it would fuse with the green fiend true flame, making it even stronger. He tossed the flame cloud spirit gourd out of the pagoda. With Xuanhuang's cooperation, he activated the flame cloud spirit gourd. The flame cloud spirit gourd floated in the magma world, releasing a suction force. When it came into contact with the human-shaped flame, it began to slowly absorb it. At this time, it was clear that this flame was in the form of magma. It was surging, and burning flames. Su Fang suddenly saw something in the human-shaped flame. When he activated the flame cloud spirit gourd again, there was a corpse inside. It was a corpse made of red flint. Xianhuang approached it. The corpse was much larger than an adult. It didn't have a Taoist robe, and its entire body was made of red flint. How could there be a stone person? Strange. Too strange. Su Fang looked at Blue Feather King. Senior, is this a flame essence or something related to it? This king isn't sure. Don't move around. Let's get closer and take a look. We might be able to find some clues. Blue Feather King was worthy of being called an old antique. He told Su Fang not to be anxious and to calm down. He activated the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda once more, allowing the king-grade magic tool to slowly approach the stone person. The stone person gradually became clear. Although it was called a corpse, it was actually sitting still. Combined with the burning flame, it looked very much like a corpse. Su Fang thought it was a statue at first, but when he got closer, he rejected that idea. It wasn't a stone person, nor was it a statue. It seemed to be a human. It was a middle-aged man with an incomparably dignified appearance. His outline could be seen clearly, and at his waist was a token that had also turned into flint. Blue Feather King had long since noticed this token. After staring at it, he suddenly realized, this is a peerless powerhouse of the spirit sect from 30,000 years ago. This token is a symbol of the spirit sect's disciple status. The internal restrictions have long since lost control, but some true characters still remain. He is indeed a cultivator of the spirit sect. Then he must be a cultivator from 30,000 years ago, said Su Fang, the spirit sect cultivator, his heart filled with deep veneration for the stone golem. Blue Feather King sighed. That's right. This person's cultivation base should be incredible. He is undying and indestructible. He is a true powerhouse of the Zhuotian world. Then should we continue collecting? Is he still useful? Don't collect it yet. An expert is sitting here. Although he is dead, it doesn't look like he was killed in a battle. If he was killed, how could he have died while sitting cross-legged? Furthermore, his body is still intact, berated Blue Feather King. Of course he is useful. To put it bluntly, this flame was released from this expert's body. This expert died 30,000 years ago, and for some unknown reason, his body turned into a flame crystal. Flame crystal, that's a precious fire attribute spirit stone. Su Fang knew about fire attribute spirit stones. They were similar to primeval jade stones, and were both fire attribute treasures. Fire attribute divine abilities, energy arts, magical treasures, and talismans were all common in the world of cultivators. However, jadestone treasures were much rarer. Because of that, few people knew about jadestone treasures. Flame crystal was often used in pill concocting and equipment forging. Pill concocting was very simple. Just put flame crystal into the pill cauldron flame hall, and it would allow true flame to burn. It would also reduce the burden on the pill concoctor. If it was refined into a magic treasure and embedded into a magic treasure, the fire-type divine ability it could unleash would be even more extraordinary. Not simple. Not simple at all. Blue Feather King told Su Fang not to move. He concentrated for a long time. After a full day, his eyes slowly moved away from the lava man. Then he had Xianhuang circle the lava giant a few times. This expert from the spirit sect seems to be a guardian, said Blue Feather King. He seems to be protecting something. It seems like he has some sort of connection to the geocentric lava spell formation. Apparently, Blue Feather King wasn't sure. Su Fang said anxiously, why don't we take him out? Do you want to die? Even the Supreme God sect can't do anything about this place. If he really does have something to do with the lava spell formation, then if we do anything to him, the formation will explode with unimaginable destructive power. Then what do? Don't touch him. He has the aura of a flame essence, right? Let's find a flame essence first. Then we can look around and see if we can find any clues. Only then can we take this flame crystal. It's a huge treasure and can be used to create a fire tribute puppet that can help you concoct pills and set up spell formations. Chapter 184. Fire Crystal Stone, and it was condensed by a cultivator. It was large and had existed for a long time. If taken out, it could be exchanged for any high-grade magic tool, or even a king-grade magic tool. But the Fire Crystal Stone man was too strange. It sat there motionless, not as if it had died. It seemed to contain some sort of supernatural power that couldn't be taken away at will. The Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda continued to slowly move deeper. As it passed by the Fire Crystal Stone man, the surrounding magma spirit fire was sucked into the fire cloud spirit gourd. The green, fiendish, true fire within the fire cloud spirit gourd became even more boundless. The quality of the spirit gourd was clearly transforming. There were crackling sounds coming from time to time, like a human cultivator removing impurities from their body. The temperature became more and more astonishing. It was unknown just how deep the magma core was, but it was impossible to see the end. All one could see was rolling magma. Master, it's right in front of us. A flame essence. It really is a flame essence. Its temperature is even more astonishing than the magma spirit fire. Only a flame essence can reach such heights. After several days of slowly crossing, Profound Yellow suddenly said in pleasant surprise. Looking ahead, there really was an astonishing burning flame deep within the magma. It was similar to the magma spirit fire that wrapped around the Fire Crystal Stone man, but its temperature was even higher and its area was even more astonishing. But this shouldn't be a flame essence. If there was such a large area of flame essence, then it would be impossible for the entire Zhuotian realm to form such an astonishing flame essence. The spirit fire was the aura released by a flame essence. That massive spirit fire burned along with the magma. If the magma didn't move, the spirit fire wouldn't move either. This was a perfect concealment. But the flame essence within the spirit fire seemed to have sensed something and began to move deeper. Its speed wasn't too fast, let alone a flame essence. Even a massive amount of spirit fire around the flame essence is a treasure that every cultivator desires. Blue Feather King's thoughts of seizing this treasure were on the verge of popping out. The Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda increased its speed. After passing through that mass of spirit fire, they gradually approached each other. Both sides seemed to be jogging, but Profound Yellow's speed was clearly higher. Only when they approached did they see the shape of the spirit fire. This time it wasn't a person, but an elephant. An elephant. A burning spirit fire elephant. Could the flame essence within it be an elephant? According to the inference of the fire crystal golem he had encountered before, there should be an elephant in the spiritual fire, a fire essence elephant. Could it be a monster, Blue Feather King, or maybe it was a spirit? Coming to this 30,000-year-old ruin, even Green Feather Monarch could not make sense of it. However, what they did not expect was that the burning elephant spirit fire suddenly shot out a flame. The Black-Yellow Six Paths Pagoda shook proudly. Surprisingly, it did not resist. Instead, it activated the first pagoda gate and sucked the incoming flames into the pagoda gate. Furthermore, it was impossible for even imperishable realm experts to stay in this magma world for a long time. But the Flame Essence's opponent was the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda, an existence with a fire divine ability. Naturally, it was restrained. Instead, it provided energy to Xianhuang. The spirit fire sped up. Xianhuang also thought of this. The pagoda's speed also increased. It was about to catch up to the elephant-shaped spirit fire. Su Fong and Blue Feather King passed through layers of restrictions and arrived at the 6th floor of the Xianhuang Six-Path Pagoda. They ordered, "Xianhuang, absorb it." "Okay," Xianhuang proudly roared. The 6 pagoda gates were activated at the same time. The 6 pagoda gates were like a magnet. They spat out a suction force, entangling a large mass of fire elephant spirit fire. Su Fong also activated the fire cloud spirit gourd to absorb it. Using the green fiend true fire as the main force, the green true fire swept out. Whoosh! The spirit fire was absorbed by the 2 artifacts. Blue Feather King couldn't sit still. He also began to absorb some spirit fire into his body to help his cultivation. The spirit fire was completely controlled. Suddenly, a fire shadow more than a foot tall flew out from inside. Taking a closer look, it was an elephant. It was a very small elephant. As soon as the small elephant came out, they knew it was the flame essence. Su Fong and the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda released countless seals, which turned into rolling flames and pounced on the small elephant. The small elephant also opened its mouth. Its long trunk rolled out, and 2 streams of spirit fire sprayed out from its nostrils. What it didn't expect was that the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda specialized in restraining spirit fire. The small elephant was equivalent to transferring energy to Xianhuang for free. Xianhuang didn't hesitate and absorbed the spirit fire into the pagoda gate. It also obtained amazing flames. The Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda fiercely shook. Suppress. The pitiful small elephant flame essence didn't know any divine abilities. It only knew how to spray flames to attack. How could it be like the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda? It shook in the air and suddenly grew from the size of a finger to more than 3 meters tall. With a flash of lightning, the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda suppressed the small elephant. Squeak! The small elephant seemed to be speaking. It struggled with all its might, causing the surrounding magma sea to suddenly become turbulent. This flame essence seems to be related to the spirit sex formation. Perhaps we can find the secret of the magma formation from it. Blue Feather King was astute. Pa! Pa! The Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda suppressed it with great force. The fire elephant was resisting. It swung its arms to fight the King Grey Dharma artifact, not the cultivators. If it were an undead cultivator, even an undead cultivator would have been burned to death. Even an undead cultivator would have to flee. But the King Grey Dharma artifact completely surpassed the fire elephant. It wasn't just 1 or 2 times stronger. Whoosh! A large circle of flames scattered. When it exploded, the fire elephant's shadow could no longer be seen. And in the 6th layer of Xianhuang, Blue Feather King and Su Fong formed hand seals at the same time. They watched as the fire elephant surged over. A large number of seals blocked the fire elephant's spirit flames. In addition, the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda's restrictions exploded. The fire elephant was like a mouse, bound in space. In the end, the one suppressing the fire elephant wasn't Blue Feather King or Su Fong, but the Grand King Grey Dharma artifact, Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. Without this Dharma artifact, it would have been impossible for him to enter the magma world. At the same time, the spirit flames outside were also being absorbed. The fire elephant struggled in panic within the restrictions. It looked in fear at Su Fong and Blue Feather King, who were constantly approaching it. Unfortunately, struggling was useless. The fire elephant was panicked. Its body kept shrinking until it became a small flame essence elephant. Blue Feather King's eyes shined. He locked onto the true runes on the fire elephant's body. Haha! As this king expected, this flame essence really is related to the magma formation. Su Fong also scanned the true runes. Although some of the true runes had disappeared, he still saw a portion. At the very least, he knew the name of this geocentric speech formation. 8 Origin Soul Elephant Formation. But Su Fong couldn't see too many true runes. After all, some of the true runes were hidden in the fire elephant's body. But Blue Feather King could see it clearly. With his cultivation base, the fire elephant couldn't escape his eyes. The 8 Origin Soul Elephant Formation is the Spirit Sex Grand Formation. It's also the most powerful formation. It shouldn't be a formation from a minor world, but from a major world. In other words, the 8 origin soul elephant formation itself is an immortal grade formation from a major world. An immortal grade formation. Incredible. No wonder it was so terrifying. Even the Supreme God sect couldn't occupy the Spirit sect's ruins for 10,000 years. It was because of this 8 origin soul elephant formation. If it wasn't for this formation, this place would have long since become a ruin. The Flame Spirit Elephant is one of the 8 origins soul elephant formations formation cores. There are 8 other formation cores, which should be the flame quartz golem we encountered before. It's not just one. There are 8 other flame quartz golems in this magma world, and the Flame Spirit Elephant is in charge of the formation. Kid, you've succeeded. If this king can obtain these 9 treasures, he'll definitely become the strongest expert on the Crimson Firmament continent. Unfortunately, the Immortal Sealing sect has suppressed this king for 10,000 years. This king can't leave the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda. He can only benefit you. This flame essence is also a flame essence elephant. It's a flame essence elephant formed from the 8 origin soul elephant formation. If you refine it, you'll be able to find the flame essence elephant's true body, as well as the 8 flame crystal golems. Then you can collect them one by one. That means you'll have the 8 origin soul elephant formation left behind by the Spirit sect. This is my fortuitous encounter. Blue Feather King's explanation made him overjoyed. The first thing he had to do was refine this flame essence elephant. How to refine it? Blue Feather King also had a suggestion. The Flaming Cloud Spirit Gourd is your first choice. It's also the best place and condition to merge with the Flame Essence Elephant. In the future, the Flame Essence Elephant can become the origin soul of the Flaming Cloud Spirit Gourd. Then I'll use the Flaming Cloud Spirit Gourd. Su Fong was certain. No, Blue Feather King was resolute. You can't. There's a risk. Think about your own situation. You can take other people's magic treasures, but don't tell me your own magic treasures can't be taken away by others. That's right. Once the Flaming Cloud Spirit Gourd is taken away, you'll lose the Flame Essence Elephant as well as the 8 Flame Crystal Golems. That's not worth the loss. The best way is to hide an important treasure like the Flame Essence Elephant in your body. Don't you have the Purple Chi Magic Spirit Space? Once you absorb it into your magic treasure space, you'll never lose it. Unless you're suppressed, and everything inside you is taken away. Purple Chi Magic Spirit, what a good place. Blue Feather King was an old antique. He had great foresight. This was something Su Fong couldn't compare to. This king was suppressed by the Immortal Sealing sect. The God Sealing Rod was in this king's body, but after being suppressed, the Immortal Sealing sect's experts forced it out of his body and took it away. If you're never suppressed by others, you'll never lose your treasure. Fine, let's do it this way. Su Fong sat down cross-legged. With the help of Mysterious Yellow, he drew the Flame Essence Elephant in front of him and urged the Purple Chi Magic Spirit in his right arm. Purple clouds of light appeared. Little thing, if you don't listen, I'll erase your consciousness and refine you into a divine weapon. Su Fong shouted at the Flame Essence Elephant. The Flame Essence Elephant had formed its consciousness after 30,000 years. It naturally understood. It was so scared that it didn't dare to resist. Su Fong dripped a drop of blood essence chi for the Flame Essence Elephant to absorb. The Flame Essence Elephant had no choice but to swallow the blood essence chi. After the Flame Essence was fused by humans, it changed. The Flame Essence Elephant, which was originally in the form of a ball of flames, had a substantial aura. It was no longer in a blurry and transparent state. The burning flames were like mist. The Flame Essence Elephant was still spinning slowly. After a while, the Flame Essence Elephant had the same breathing rhythm as Su Fong. Then, he raised his right arm. The Flame Essence Elephant flew into the Purple Chi Magic Spirit space in his right arm, along with the Purple Chi Magic Spirit. Inside the space, the flame essence elephant was floating next to Su Fang's golden core that sealed the devil chi. It spat out spiritual fire so that it could move freely in the spiritual fire. Su Fang urged the illusory fire cloud to pour a lot of fire elemental energy into the spiritual light space where the flame essence elephant was. In this way, the flame essence elephant could stay in Su Fang's body and absorb the fire elemental energy that Su Fang cultivated to cultivate on its own. The flame essence elephant would eventually become a peerless existence. At least for now, it could bring great help to Su Fang when he first came into contact with alchemy. Chapter 185. It took him a few days to merge with the fire spiritual elephant. Su Fang wanted to get the 8 fire crystal golems. He had met one before, and there were still 7 golems left, especially since he wanted to know what kind of treasure the spirit sect had sealed in the 8 origin divine elephant array. The spiritual source seed. Compared to the fire spiritual elephant, it was not a treasure. The spiritual source seed was just a seed formed by the spiritual sect's origin after 30,000 years. It could be used to cultivate the spiritual sect's supernatural powers. Entering the purple cloud Dharma spirit, Su Fang called the fire spiritual elephant before him. Are there any treasures left behind by the spiritual sect in the 8 origin spiritual elephant formation? The fire spirit elephant answered honestly, squeak, squeak, no. Master, when the spirit sect was destroyed, the 8 origin spiritual elephant formation was also heavily damaged. Most of the formations have been broken, and the treasures that were sealed in the formations have all escaped with the destruction of the formations. Now, only the last and deepest layer of the 8 origin spiritual elephant formation is left. But there should be some treasures. The last layer is the tomb where the spiritual sect's powerhouses fell. There are more than 10 corpses lying in the depths. Are there any Dharma treasures in the tomb of the powerhouses? No. The Dharma treasures they used were all taken back by the spiritual sect. However, after 30,000 years of precipitation, their corpses have turned into fire crystals. There are also a large number of fire spiritual stones in the depths of the tomb, but they are all small. Take me to the tomb first. Then take me to your original body and the 8 fire crystal golems guarding it. It turned out that the magma core world was the cemetery of the spiritual sect's powerhouses. After getting the answer, Su Fang's mind was clear. He returned to the space and asked the fire spiritual elephant to tell him about it. Then, he let the Xianwang 6 Paths Pagoda continue to approach the depths. A few days later, just as the fire spirit elephant had said, there were many coffins in the depths of the magma core world. There were a total of 13 coffins. The coffins had turned into fire crystals. There were too many fire crystals scattered around. It was like a world of fire crystals. Even if he collected all the fire crystals, he could exchange them for a king grade Dharma artifact. The Supreme God Sect's reward of the top grade Dharma artifact was too shabby. He activated the Flaming Cloud Spiritual Gourd. With a whoosh, the spirit gourd arrived around the coffin and wantonly released a suction force, absorbing the fire spirit stones on the ground. There were too many of them, forming a thick layer. Su Fang went to the front of the 13 coffins and opened them. Sure enough, there were fire crystal golems lying inside. Have no physical body, thus they no longer had a body. These were not corpses. The corpses of these experts had long been corroded by the power of the magma. Finally, after 30,000 years of weathering, they had become fire quartz golems. Therefore, these corpses were only material. Senior, there are 13 of these flame crystal giants. If we gather them, wouldn't we be able to use them to set up a formation? Su Fang began to absorb the flame crystal giants within the coffin. Of course, now that you're rich, you can set up formations and use them with a rainbow soul-absorbing bell. Then you'll be super badass. Furthermore, you can refine these flame crystal golems into puppets. Puppets are also a type of magical treasure. In any case, you can make them into battle treasures to increase your combat power. He then took away the other fire crystal golems and the coffins as well. Fire crystals, they were all filled with fire crystals. And the fire cloud spiritual gourd was still absorbing the other fire crystals. There were too many of them. This was a shocking amount of wealth. Even an eternal realm expert would find it difficult to possess such a shocking amount of fire crystals. If it were Xianhuang stone or origin jade, he would be even happier. Even if they were extremely rare, they could still restore the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. Looking at the cemetery again, it was actually not magma before. It was a solidified valley. Unfortunately, after 30,000 years of evolution and the destruction of the 8 origin spiritual elephant formation, the surroundings of the cemetery had changed. In the end, the magma had poured into every corner of the space. Master, there are some magical treasures left behind by some experts who died in the formation not far away, the fire spirit elephant said again. He couldn't let them go. After waiting for a while and waiting for the fire cloud spiritual gourd to absorb all the fire crystals, he drove the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda over. Just as the fire spirit elephant said, there were indeed magical treasures. Not one, but hundreds of them. It felt like this was the center of the magma core world. From time to time, the magma would form a whirlpool, sucking in the objects that fell to the bottom of the valley. There were hundreds of magical treasures at the bottom of the valley. Unfortunately, some of them had already melted. Among them, there were a dozen upper-grade magical treasures that were particularly eye-catching. A dozen upper-grade magical treasures could be exchanged for a king-grade magical treasure. Any one of them was a treasure sought after by undead and eternal realm experts. Su Fong began to collect the magical treasures. The fire spirit elephant said again, "These magical treasures were left behind by the cultivators who died in the magma after breaking into the formation in the past 30,000 years. Unfortunately, there were only magical treasures. There were no corpses of the cultivators. This could be considered an unexpected fortune. Master, you can also go to the outer areas of the magma to take a look. Although the 8 origin spiritual elephant formation was damaged, there might be some spirit sect treasure scattered. You're the eye of the formation, don't you know? I can only move around inside the formation. I can't go outside. Once I leave the formation, I'm worried that I'll be suppressed by human experts." "I see. Then I'll collect your main body and the 8 fire quartz golems first. Bring them to your main body." After receiving Su Fong's order, the fire spirit elephant began to lead the way. If it wasn't for the fire spirit elephant, it was not impossible to find the main body of the fire spirit elephant in this underground magma world. However, it would take a long time. After a few hours, after passing through layers of magma tunnels, they arrived at a magma world. Suddenly, they saw an altar in the air. This altar had also turned into fire quartz golems after 30,000 years of precipitation. Shocking, truly shocking. On top of the altar, there was a giant elephant standing. The fire spirit elephant was the main body of the fire spirit elephant. When they arrived at the altar, the giant elephant in front of them had also turned into a fire quartz golem. It was more than 3 meters tall and stood on the altar. Its trunk was raised in the air, and its mouth was slightly open. Just like that, it was solidified and settled down. This was true immortality. The fire spirit elephant introduced, "Master, this is no longer my main body. It's just a host body. It's convenient for cultivation. However, if you want to take it away, it will cause some disturbances. Moreover, if you lose the host body, the 8 origin spirit elephant formation will also change. In the end, the formation will disappear, and this place will become a natural magma world. Senior, let's work together." It was not easy to collect the fire spirit elephant. He immediately cooperated with Green Feather King. The two of them used the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda to activate a giant hand seal and grab the fire spirit elephant. Buzz! When the giant hand seal grabbed the fire spirit elephant, the entire space shook. Su Fong felt that the fire spirit elephant's main body was too heavy. If not for Green Feather King's help, he would not have been able to collect it. Even if there was a treasure in front of him, he could not take it away. That kind of feeling was unbearable. Buzz! Finally, the fire crystal stone spirit elephant moved. It was pulled into the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. There's movement. Before Su Fong could relax, he heard someone exclaim with his great perfection ability. The Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda also warned someone is approaching. Master Leaf, cultivators who can come here are at least imperishable realm powerhouses. Yes, imperishable realm powerhouses. How should I deal with them? Su Fong calmed down. He was not in a hurry to escape, because in this magma world, it was impossible to escape quickly. First, he had the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda hide its aura. Then, he used the flames to protect it and enter the magma. Whoosh! At the same time, a red figure flew over from the other side of the magma. There was actually someone who could also travel through the magma. Master, that's a high-grade magic treasure that's close to the king grade, and it's also a fire attribute magic treasure. That's why I can travel through this magma world. Xianhuang immediately sensed the red figure's true body. It was a high-grade, close to the king grade, fire attribute magic treasure. This kind of magic treasure was actually just a king-grade magic treasure. Most magic treasures were high-grade magic treasures. Fortunately, high-grade magic treasures were unable to sense king-grade magic treasures, especially something like the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda, which was close to a Dao item. According to the sect's ancient records, the spirit sect's 8 origin spirit elephant formations core is here. A man's puzzled voice came from the red figure. Our sect's true powerhouses participated in the battle against the spirit sect. In a short time, the spirit sect was destroyed. Rumor has it that the spirit sect is not simple, especially the 8 origin spirit elephant formation. It almost allowed the spirit sect to survive 30,000 years ago. The sect's upper echelons sealed that battle from 30,000 years ago because they didn't want it to spread. They said that our sect entered the Zhuotian realm en masse and destroyed the spirit sect. You should know that there are many existences as strong as the spirit sect in the Zhuotian realm. The sect didn't want to make too many enemies. The red figure's aura gradually faded. It was a bead. The bead released the light of a magic treasure about 10 meters wide. There should be 2 experts inside, existences whose cultivation bases had reached the undying realm. Su Fong could hear them talking. Even though they were separated by magic treasures, he could still hear them. Perhaps those 2 experts thought that there were no other cultivators in this world. Senior, you heard it too? Green Feather King said, yes. This king didn't expect that the spirit sect was destroyed by other powers, and it wasn't even a power from the Zhuotian realm. The 2 cultivators inside the magic treasure came from another world. In other words, they were experts from other small worlds. The 8 origin spirit elephant formation. It's a pity that the sect didn't obtain this formation back then. The spirit sect was originally very powerful. This formation shouldn't have been easily broken by anyone in the past 30,000 years. We still have a chance to obtain the core of this formation. If you and I master this formation, we can return to the sect and become true disciples. Of course. However, our main purpose here is to find the spirit sect's peerless magic treasure, the Divine Image Spirit Wall. There are 3 parts to the Divine Image Spirit Wall. The sect once obtained one of them, so there should be 2 left behind in the Zhuotian world. The sect rules that whoever can obtain the other 2 Divine Image Spirit Walls will be able to obtain the sect's 3rd Divine Image Spirit Wall and become the owner of the Divine Image Spirit Wall. The Divine Image Spirit Wall is a Dao artifact. Inside the magic treasure bead, the 2 men were talking nonstop. Green Feather King and Su Fong heard everything clearly. Su Fong asked Green Feather King. As an old antique, he also didn't know about the spirit sect's Divine Image Jade Wall. He could only ask Fire Spirit Elephant. Fire Spirit Elephant naturally knew. The spirit sect's number 1 magic treasure, and also its strongest magic treasure, the Divine Image Jade Wall. This magic treasure is formed by 3 circular jade pendants. When the 3 jade pendants fuse, it becomes a Dao artifact. Rumor has it that it's a peerless magic treasure from a large world, not a small world. And because the spirit sect has the Divine Image Jade Wall, It can become a great power in the Zhuotian realm. Dao artifact? What's so special about it? The divine image jade wall has a large ability that other magic treasures don't have. This magic treasure can deduce the advantages and disadvantages of divine abilities, help cultivators break the divine abilities of strong enemies, and also assist cultivators in cultivating divine abilities. With the divine image jade wall, most divine abilities can be broken without being attacked. Furthermore, the divine image jade wall only needs to have the first few layers of a divine ability to deduce an entire divine ability. Such a perverted Dao artifact. Divine image jade wall. After listening to Fire Spirit Elephant's introduction, Su Fang's heart was filled with endless curiosity. Chapter 186. If the divine image jade Annulus really had the ability Fire Spirit Elephant said, then wouldn't he be able to obtain countless divine abilities? It would also be of great help to his cultivation. With the divine image jade Annulus, his cultivation would be smooth sailing. Fire Spirit Elephant, don't you know the whereabouts of the divine image jade Annulus? Su Fang asked curiously. I'm only in charge of the formation. The divine image jade Annulus is naturally in the hands of the spirit sex experts. But according to what that person said, it seems that the divine image jade Annulus has been separated into 3 parts. What does the divine image jade Annulus look like? After Fire Spirit Elephant described the appearance of the divine image jade Annulus, Su Fang was suddenly shocked. He stared blankly for a moment, then immediately searched through the empty bag. Even Green Feather King didn't know why he was looking for something in this situation. Buzz. After a while, Su Fang waved his hand, and a slightly white, round hollow jade pendant appeared in his hand. Divine image jade Annulus. Fire Spirit Elephant exclaimed when he saw this jade pendant. Divine image jade Annulus, no way. This jade pendant was a treasure that Purple Chi and Mysterious Yellow sensed together in the 100-year Trial Xian cave inside the Risk sect. At that time, they couldn't tell what it was, only that it was a treasure. Even Mysterious Yellow couldn't detect it. Since the Celestial Sealing sect treated it as a treasure and placed it in the Xian cave for disciples to obtain, it meant that it was an extraordinary thing. Su Fang kept it, hoping that he could crack its secret in the future. He didn't expect that he would crack its secret in the Fighting Soul ruins today. It was the Spirit Sect's supreme Dao artifact, the divine image jade Annulus. Grandpa, really Grandpa, why doesn't this king have the luck of a blind cat meeting a dead mouse like you? You can even pick up a Dao artifact. Green Feather King was very envious. Su Fang was also surprised. This is what Purple Chi's spiritual perception told me. I didn't know it was a Dao artifact because Mysterious Yellow couldn't see its secret. Master, the divine image jade Annulus is very special. That's the difference between a Dao item and an enchanted item, said Xianhua. No matter how powerful an enchanted item is, even if I'm a king-grade enchanted item, I'm still a magic treasure. I can't form my own divine abilities or consciousness. But a Dao item is different. A Dao item has the ability to use divine abilities and create divine abilities. A Dao item has the same consciousness as a cultivator. It can turn into dust or transform into any form. This is the grand Dao returning to the truth, turning something rotten into something magical. Green Feather King had learned something new. After all, he did not know much about Dao artifacts. If it wasn't the Purple Chi Dharma spirit, wouldn't it have brushed past a Dao item? Su Fang was even more aware of the importance of the Purple Chi Dharma spirit. He had to obtain the 3rd portion of the spirit vein. He then turned to the Flame Spirit Elephant. The divine image jade Annulus is a Dao item with the power to surpass enchanted items. Once separated, the divine image jade Annulus is like an ordinary item. So in the Spirit Sect, there aren't many people who have seen the divine image jade Annulus. Otherwise, the Spirit Sect would have been destroyed, and the divine image jade Annulus would have long since been taken away. Master's karmic luck is very good. You've already found the location of the other divine image, Jade Annulus. Easier said than done. Speaking of which, since these two experts came from the spirit-destroying sect, you should know their origins. They came from the Wu-Tan realm's Green Lotus Sword sect. Wu-Tan realm. When the flame spirit elephant finished speaking, the Green Feather King was shocked. This king has been to the Wu-Tan realm before. It's not far from the Zhuotian realm. It's also a powerful minor realm, and the Green Lotus Sword sect is comparable to the number 1 power. In the Zhuotian realm, there are often experts from the Green Lotus Sword sect who come to train. Of course, the cultivators of the Zhuotian realm will also go to the Wu-Tan realm. Why can't it be the Green Lotus Sword sect? Think about it. Generally speaking, fights between powers are carried out within minor realms. It's very difficult to cross minor realms. This king has only seen some minor powers cross minor realms to kill each other. Once a major power like the Green Lotus Sword sect crosses minor realms and wantonly comes to the Zhuotian realm to destroy the spirit sect, then the other powers of the Zhuotian realm will definitely stand on the side of the spirit sect. So this is strange. Why don't the other powers of the Zhuotian realm know anything about the spirit sect's destruction? So that's how it is. It can only be said that the spirit sect's destruction is a secret that some people don't know. Su Fong understood. However, this wasn't something a heavenly fusion realm disciple like him could consider. After 30,000 years, the spirit sect had become a thing of the past. Who would care about the inside story? Who took away the 8 origin spirit elephant formations array core? At this time, a fierce, angry voice came from outside. Su Fong came back to his senses and looked into the distance with the Green Feather King, which was the direction of the spirit elephant's main body. It can't be for long. After all, the 8 origin spirit elephant formation is still there. Right, there was a sudden vibration just now. Could it be that someone beat us to it before we came? Then our luck is too bad. This means that this person is also an undead realm existence. Forget it. Maybe the spirit sect still has many treasures hidden here. Maybe the other 2 parts of the divine image, Jade Annulus, are also here. The 2 conversed and then drove their artifacts deeper. Too dangerous. If we were a step late, we would have met these 2 undead experts. But with Xianhuang here, they can't do anything to me. Su Fong let Xianhuang follow the fire spirit elephant's guidance and gradually leave the center of the 8 origin spirit elephant formation. As for the 8 fire crystal stone men, forget it. Su Fong could only give up. The 2 peerless experts from the Green Lotus Sword sect would definitely know about the existence of the 8 stone statues. It was impossible to snatch the magic treasures from them. This kind of risk could not be taken. Moreover, he had also obtained 13 fire crystal stone men. It would be easy to use them to arrange the 8 origin spirit elephant formation. It took a few days to slowly leave the center of the formation. At this time, they came to the edge of the magma space. It was shallow. The magma was about 30 meters deep. Along the way, they found some scattered magic treasures, but there were no real treasures from the spirit sect. Whoosh! A corpse fell into the magma from above. Xianhuang's 6 Paths Pagoda, which was passing through below, immediately noticed. Su Fong released the illusion cloud rope and caught the corpse. It was an immortal expert. At first glance, his heart was gone, and his magic treasures were looted. Not only that, the man's wounds were contaminated with a lot of demonic chi. This expert was not from the Devil Path, but he had been killed by the Devil Path. Wait a moment. This corpse has the aura of the Brahma, true devil. Su Fong was about to have the Flying Tiger King and the 2 junior commanders swallow the corpse. But Green Feather King suddenly stopped him. Perhaps the person above is the Brahma, true devil. The Brahma, true devil really does have the same aura. Su Fong was no stranger to the Brahma, true devil. He handed the corpse to the 3 junior commanders and immediately controlled Xianhuang to approach the magma. He immediately heard a familiar, gloomy voice. "Master, why don't you leave the corpse behind and refine it into a puppet?" Mo Ing Ren, this was Mo Ing Ren's voice. The Brahma true devil shouted hoarsely. How could I have the energy to refine a puppet? I only want the hearts of human cultivators. Furthermore, we came here for two reasons. The first is to obtain the spirit source seed. The second is to kill people without any scruples in this dangerous place. If it was in a normal environment and a large number of righteous path cultivators died, and it was done by the devil path, it would definitely attract the attention of large powers. I just came out of seclusion, and my strength has yet to recover. How could I fight them? Master, once you recover your strength, you can obtain everything. I'm a grand true devil. That damned immortal sealing sect, I was suppressed by them for 10,000 years. My treasures were also taken away by them. I didn't expect that I would work for the Supreme God sect for a high-grade enchanted item. Back then, the Supreme God sect was just a third-rate power. The Brahma true devil was very bewildered. That was true. A true devil who was willing to lower himself and work for the Supreme God sect would obtain a high-grade enchanted item. The difference between him and a true devil was too great. The spirit source seed. Su Fong didn't care about the Brahma true devil. Only now did he think of the spirit source seed. If I obtain the seed, I can exchange it for a high-grade enchanted item. Brat, you're courting death. Not to mention so many experts. There are also 2 experts from the Green Lotus Sword sect. You already got such a huge advantage, and you still want to obtain the spirit source seed. Don't forget the lesson of your Jin Dan shattering last time. Yes. Su Fong hurriedly left, continuing to dive into the magma world to search for treasures. Not to mention that he obtained some mid-grade enchanted items under the magma. After searching for a long time, Su Fong left the magma world. He sucked the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda into his right arm and flew toward the exit of the abyss. Along the way, he encountered some experts who kept flying down. It seemed that there were at least a few hundred cultivators who came to look for the spirit source seed. Unfortunately, they either died in the array formation or were killed by the Brahma true devil. A brat is coming. He was about to fly out of the underground cavern. However, a pair of eyes suddenly flashed from above. Following that, 5 Immortality Realm experts rushed out from the darkness like thunder and blocked Su Fong's path. The experts from Immortality Realm level 5 to level 8 secretly glanced at them, not knowing why they suddenly stopped him halfway. One of the Immortality Realm level 8 men had a murderous look on his face. He pointed at Su Fong without hesitation. Go down and look for the spirit source seed. Whether you obtain it or not, leave your empty bag behind. It turned out that he was robbed halfway. These people reaped without sowing. Of course, it didn't count. At least, they contributed to the great calamity halfway. You want to snatch my treasure, Su Fong laughed lightly. It was obvious that he didn't put these people in his eyes. Reckless. If you hand over your empty bag, we can still give you a way out. Since you don't want to live and want to die, brothers, kill him. Maybe there is a spirit source seed on him. At that time, we can ask for a high-grade enchanted item from the Supreme God sect. The man ordered. Whoosh whoosh. The 3 experts from Immortality Realm level 6 to level 5 immediately attacked. Su Fong rode on a flying sword and flew to the other side, leaving the 2 strongest experts to wait at the same spot, waiting for the treasures to be obtained. Whoosh whoosh. He flew out of the underground cavern. Soon, he entered the forest. The 3 experts kept chasing. Su Fong was only at Heaven Fusion Realm level 8. How could he be their opponent? In the end, Su Fong suddenly sped up. It was not just a little fast. This kid is strange. His strength is not bad. The 3 of them were also people who wandered the Jianghu. They immediately sped up. Unfortunately, after chasing for a while, they got farther and farther away from the forest. They couldn't fly to the end. Before they could react, suddenly, countless Su Fong attacked from the dark, creating a sword formation. They were caught off guard, and all of this was actually an illusion. Su Fong used the 7-colored soul-absorbing bell to set up a simple formation in a short time in the dark. In this state, it was easy for anyone to walk into a trap. After a while, the 3 of them were exhausted. Su Fong attacked from behind and subdued the 3 of them. In the end, They didn't get Su Fang's empty bag. Instead, Su Fang seized their empty bag. As for the three of them, Su Fang still let them go and let them live. With this lesson, they probably wouldn't dare to casually attack strangers in the future. Chapter 187. He looked at their empty pouches. They had more treasures than the celestial sealing sect's longevity disciples, but they had all kinds of treasures. There were very few pure origin pills and divine abilities. It was not easy for these rogue cultivators to reach the longevity realm. Most of them only had ordinary divine abilities, unlike the celestial sealing sect, which had 7 divine abilities. Not to mention cultivating one of them. Even cultivating one of them would be earth-shattering. Ruin Market after returning, Su Fang bought some alchemy materials. He also heard that a few people were lucky enough to obtain spirit source seeds and exchange them for high-grade Dharma artifact from the Supreme Deity sect. In a deep chasm near the Ruin Market, he found an uninhabited cave. I've been out for a year. Zheng Daoxin promised me a few years. I plan to cultivate outside for 5 years before returning. After tidying up, the cave became clean. Suddenly, he thought of something. 10 years of business. I used the barbarian Rune Divine Cauldron in exchange for 10 years of protection from Heavenly God Fu. It seems like nothing happened during that time, but it's all because of Heavenly God Fu's name. Without his name, I would have been targeted by the experts of the Celestial Sealing sect. After calculating the time, he realized that relying on other things would not work. If he succeeded this time, his strength would increase a lot. As long as he could reach the longevity realm, he would not need Heavenly God Fu's protection. He took out the 3-yang cauldron, condensed runes, and placed it in the formation. He then took out the 3-pill recipes he had prepared and asked Green Feather King about alchemy. He learned that the 3-pill recipes could not be refined at the same time. They had to be refined one at a time. Each pill recipe's temperature and refining time were different, so they could not be refined together. He wanted to save time, but it did not work. He took out a few fire spirit stones and placed them in the 3-yang cauldron's fire hall. Then, he slowly condensed Green Fiend True Fire. It was just an inconspicuous flame. Instantly, a few fire spiritual rocks exuded a shocking amount of fire chi, helping the green murderous primordial fire to burn. The flames roared. Su Fang did not expect the fire spiritual rocks to have such a shocking effect. He also reduced the amount of green murderous primordial fire. Chi within the fire hall, the Green Fiend True Fire burned slowly. The fire crystals were as red as charcoal. After a while, the 3-yang cauldron started to spin. It spun extremely slowly, and some of the patterns on its surface also became fiery red. This was because the true fire had filled the 3-yang cauldron with the power of flames. Then, he opened the lid of the pill cauldron and poured the powder of the first pill formula and the spiritual water that he had purchased into the cauldron. He closed the lid and weakened the true fire again. Not long after, a faint medicinal fragrance wafted out. The Su Fang weakened the true fire again. Just like that, he slowly controlled the true fire and waited. Senior, as expected, relying on my true body to refine pills is too much of a waste of time. If I focus on refining pills, I won't be able to cultivate at the same time. A few days later, Su Fang gained some experience and shared it with Green Feather King. That's why you need puppets to help you refine pills. There's also another method. That's to summon junior commanders to watch over the pill cauldron. Junior commander for the time being, he couldn't obtain the puppet, but he had junior commanders, and 3 of them at that. Junior commander is unable to control the green fiendish true fire. If you want junior commander to help you guard the pill cauldron and control the true fire, you must condense the runic symbols of the green fiendish true fire. Junior commander can control the runic symbols and control the true fire in the fire hall. So that's how it is. There are many ways to refine pills. It all depends on a person's ability. If you have all sorts of abilities, there are naturally many ways to refine pills. You have the Xianwang 6 Paths Pagoda. The more junior commanders you have in the future, the more helpers you will have. Whether it's setting up formations or cultivating, they'll all help you. For example, in the future, if you have to quickly set up a huge formation when facing a powerful enemy, you won't be able to do it on your own. But if you release the junior commanders of Xianhuang to help you set up the formation, wouldn't that increase your efficiency? So junior has such a use for the junior commanders. I thought they could only be used in Xuanhuang space to transfer energy to Xianhuang. That's your misunderstanding. It's not your fault. You've only cultivated for a short time. Once you experience more and experience more, you'll reach an undying and undying realm. Then you'll naturally be able to think of these uses. Green Feather King was very patient. Since that was the case, he immediately released the Flying Tiger King. He also condensed a runic symbol with the green fiendish true fire as the main runic symbol for the Flying Tiger King's control. The Flying Tiger King held the runic symbol and activated it. It was more than enough to refine pills. The moment the Flying Tiger King learned of the time to refine the pills, he sat beside the three-yang cauldron and carefully guarded the true fire. He was even more attentive than Su Fong. Su Fong made some time to pay attention to the fire spirit elephant and the 13 flame crystal golems. Once he made good use of these, his strength would greatly improve during this period of time. After discussing for a while, Green Feather King suggested 8 of the flame crystal golems can be left behind to set up the 8 origin spirit elephant formation. As for the other 5, you can refine them into 5 great puppets. Of course, you'll have to refine them into puppets, but they'll all be used for different purposes. The flame crystal golems that had taken 30,000 years to form naturally couldn't be sold. That was not worth it. Only by using them for cultivation would they be able to make the most of it. Of the 13 flame crystal golems, 8 would be used to set up the formation, and the other 5 would be used to refine puppets. But they would all be refined into puppets. The art of puppetry was something that Su Fong had never come into contact with before. However, he had come into contact with puppets many times. The most shocking experience he had ever had was when he and his father had fought Zhao Wuji's puppet in the air above the state of Zhao's imperial palace. At that time, he had been deeply attracted to puppets. A single puppet could be left behind by Zhao Wuji to protect the vast Zhao. There are many kinds of puppets, and different methods are used for different materials. Humans like to take the big goblin corpses of my demon race, gouge out their innards, implant runes in them, and refine them into puppets. They also use various methods to refine human corpses into skin puppets, corpse puppets, and so on. Green Feather King began to teach him the details of the art of puppets. The flame crystal golems are different. After 30,000 years of precipitation, they formed a complete flame crystal, making it much easier to refine fire tribute puppets. And after 30,000 years, the 13 flame crystal golems can become flame essence just like the spirit elephant. So it's best for you to choose the refining method of the devil path and the demon race. Most of the puppets that humans refine are watered with spiritual energy, while the devil path and the demon race use their essence blood to nourish them. He explained all kinds of details. Su Fong began to act. He chose to refine the 13 puppets within the Fire Cloud Spirit Gourd. Within the Spirit Gourd space, Su Fong used a separate space to bring in the flame crystal golems. Then he condensed his own blood, transforming it into essence blood chi that enveloped the 13 flame crystal golems. He also had the green fiend true flame burn the barrier, using the flame to refine the flame crystal golems and assist them in absorbing his essence blood chi. 30,000 years. After experiencing the destruction of the spirit sect and the changes of the sun and moon, they could have all turned into flame essences. But in the end, they were destroyed by the humans. Even if it wasn't for Su Fong, they would still have been obtained by the Green Lotus Sword sex experts. Thus, the 13 flame crystal golems fell into a deep slumber within the barrier, absorbing the essence blood chi and waiting for the day of their revival. The flame crystal golems were completely natural. This was an advantage that other puppets never had. As for Su Fong, all he had to do was let them absorb the essence blood chi. Then he absorbed the flame spirit elephant's true body. The flame spirit elephant's true body was too shocking, but the flame essence was less than a foot long. Green Feather King reminded, "Kid, you have to use the flame essence wisely." "I'm planning to use it." Su Fong stared at the flame spirit elephant. The flame spirit elephant was also uneasy, not knowing what its fate was. Because the flame spirit elephant is a flame essence, it already has the ability to control all kinds of flames. It can help you refine pills, set up formations, attack, and so on. Green Feather King analyzed for Su Fong. "With such great luck, you actually have a very good foundation. You can't use it in one aspect, but let the flame spirit elephant use it in all aspects." Green Feather King's meaning was clear. When refining pills, the flame spirit elephant was needed, and it could refine pills. When setting up formations, the flame spirit elephant was needed, and it could play a role in the formation. When refining tools, the flame spirit elephant could also provide flames. When attacking, the flame spirit elephant could also display astonishing power. Only by using all aspects could the flame spirit elephant be used to the extreme. In the end, he still had to ask Green Feather King for advice. Green Feather King also communicated with Mysterious Yellow. As the Pung King, a peerless expert, Green Feather King wished he could have the world's most powerful magic treasure and smash the Celestial Sealing sect with one strike. Therefore, he had to think of a way to strengthen Su Fong. He was selfish, but he wasn't. His only selfishness was that he hoped Su Fong could help him get back at the Celestial Sealing sect for 10,000 years. I got it. Let the flame spirit elephant fuse with his true body and become a magic treasure. A magic treasure that can fuse with the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda and leave Mysterious Yellow. It can also suppress any power in Mysterious Yellow's space. Finally, Green Feather King had a result. A magic treasure. Su Fong quickly figured out what he meant. He wanted to refine the flame spirit elephant into a magic treasure that could fuse with the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. There was only one reason for Green Feather King's suggestion. It was a reason that Su Fong agreed with. That was because the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda would become his life magic item in the future. In other words, Mysterious Yellow would never be separated from him. And if Mysterious Yellow had an incomparably powerful offensive magic treasure, it would be able to cooperate with Mysterious Yellow to kill and suppress powerful enemies. That way, the flame spirit elephant could come out on its own. With Su Fong's urging, it could also fuse with Mysterious Yellow. Su Fong was lost in thought for a long time. Green Feather King was also lost in thought. Unknowingly, half a month passed. "Master, the time you gave me is up. I've already taken control of the true fire." The Flying Tiger King's voice rang out in Su Fong's mind. He immediately summoned the Flame Cloud Spirit Gourd. After the Flying Tiger King bowed, he immediately opened the lid. A medicinal fragrance immediately wafted out. He hastily took out a bottle of spiritual water and poured it over the medicinal pills inside. In the Tao of Alchemy, this was called spirit cleansing. Spirit cleansing was to cleanse a newly refined medicinal pill with spiritual water. During this process, the medicinal pill would absorb the spiritual qi within the spiritual water to form a perfect medicinal pill. Spirit cleansing was extremely important. The difference in spiritual water determined the medicinal pill's spiritual qi and medicinal effect. The spiritual water Su Fong had bought was extremely ordinary. It was something that cultivators gathered in the depths of some mountains. It wasn't very expensive, but some alchemy grandmasters had spiritual water that came from some special places. Because of the difference in spiritual water, the medicinal effect of the medicinal pills would be completely different after a spirit cleansing. It was said that the Devil Path liked to use the blood of newborn babies to cleanse their spiritual souls. The medicinal pills refined from that would contain astonishing life energy. Su Fong was very satisfied with the medicinal pill he had refined. It was round and fragrant. I wonder if this king has succeeded. Have the Flying Tiger King use it. This king will know once he sees it. Green Feather King didn't know what was going on. He had the Flying Tiger King consume it on the spot. After the Flying Tiger King consumed it, Green Feather King placed a palm on his head and absorbed a bit of blood chi. It wasn't too much. Chapter 188. The Flying Tiger King didn't experience any changes after swallowing the medicinal pill. This kind of medicinal pill was just an experiment, and its medicinal energy wasn't strong. It was just checking if the combination of the pill formulas was right or not. The Green Feather King pulled back his hand. No, the medicinal energy of this pill formula is only able to stimulate a tiny bit of life energy and spiritual chi. It doesn't reach the desired state at all. This pill formula can be considered useless. Let's continue with the second pill formula. Failure. After half a month of hard work and troubling the Flying Tiger King, he still failed. This was an indescribable blow to Su Fong. The medicinal pill looked perfect, but the medicinal energy inside wasn't up to standard at all. Fortunately, the refinement process hadn't gone wrong. That meant that Su Fong's grasp of alchemy wasn't bad. This was already a great harvest. Many people were unable to control the flame or time during their first refinement, let alone successfully refining a medicinal pill. The medicinal pill couldn't even take shape. He condensed another formation and had the three-yang cauldron float within it. Then he took out the medicinal powder of the second pill formula and mixed it with spiritual water. Su Fong personally released Green Fiend True Flame. Once the temperature rose, he had the Flying Tiger King continue to stand guard outside the three-yang cauldron. Refining pills isn't as easy as you think. A pill formula requires at least several refinements before it can have a certain effect. If you were a novice, you would need at least 20 or 30 refinements. Only an alchemist would be able to roughly refine a pill after just a few refinements. After refining it for a period of time, you would be able to create a new pill. Seeing that Su Fong had suffered a blow, the Green Feather King gave him a few pointers. In truth, Su Fong wasn't suffering a blow. He just felt like his time and effort had been wasted. But after hearing the Green Feather King's words, Su Fong definitely wasn't wasting his time. It was a kind of accumulation of experience. During this process of failure, he had a clearer grasp of the flame, temperature, and time. Even if he failed this time, it wouldn't be a problem if he failed a few more times. If one time wasn't enough, then he would try a few more times. With the Green Feather King's guidance and his own exploration, he would definitely succeed. From the moment he had decided to refine pills and buy the three-yang cauldron, Su Fong had been reading and collecting all kinds of alchemy insights. Otherwise, if he suddenly started refining pills and released his true flame, the medicinal powder would be burned to ashes. After observing for a while and confirming that everything was normal, he returned to the Xianhuang space. Senior, I've made up my mind. I'll make the fire spiritual elephant a magic treasure. Su Fong made his decision. All right, this time, you will use the power of the mysterious yellow stone to refine the fire spiritual elephant, and I will cooperate with you. With the addition of the mysterious yellow stone, it won't be too difficult to refine the Dharma treasure. You have already mastered the Green Fiend True Fire, but you still need some materials to refine the fire spiritual elephant, especially the mysterious yellow stone and the primordial jade stone. Why do we need these two strange stones? Didn't the fire spirit elephant itself become a fire crystal? Think about it. If you want the fire spiritual elephant to be a piece of magical equipment that can be melted and controlled by Xianhuang, can you do it without the same strength as Xianhuang? Understood. Primordial Jade, Stone Xuanhuang, Stone Su Fong didn't have a single one of these two strange stones, and they had to buy them from the Supreme Deity sect. He understood after giving it some thought. If the fire spirit elephant did not have the same power as Xianhuang, it naturally would not be able to merge with Xianhuang. It was a very normal logic. It seemed that he would not be able to refine the fire spirit elephant anytime soon. He had to make a trip to the ruin market. Su Fong had to wait for the results of the second pill formula before he could leave. During this time, he began to cultivate the 9 transformations of the 9 suns and break through his second spirit meridian. He also cultivated the heavenly devil scripture and condensed devil chi into the golden core in his right arm. It was very difficult for righteous Dao cultivators to cultivate devil Dao Qigong. However, Su Fong had the true devil blood plate, a peerless treasure from the devil race. By fusing with the true devil blood plate, he could use the true devil blood plate as the source to condense devil chi according to the heavenly devil scripture. As the rich yang energy continued to attack his second yang meridian, Su Fong could clearly feel his spiritual power increasing. With the help of the profound magic ring, the magic power in his divine aperture surged. Another half a month later, Flying Tiger King called out to Su Fong. Su Fong went to the three-yang cauldron and poured spirit water into it to cleanse the spirit. The moment the spirit was cleansed, a large amount of spirit mist exploded from the pill cauldron, and he could hear the sound of the pill buzzing. When the pill calmed down, he took it out to take a look. It looked perfect with the naked eye, without any impurities. The only thing left was to see how the medicine was fusing. Once again, Flying Tiger King tested the medicine. Off to the side, King Greenfeather placed his hand on top of the pill cauldron's head and began to extract some quintessence blood energy. After a while, he removed his hand, his expression even more unsightly than before. The medicinal strength isn't strong either. It failed. There's a third pill formula. Su Fong didn't seem disappointed. I'll make another pill formula. Don't you want to go to the ruins market to buy yuan jades and profound yellow stones? You can also buy some other materials, as well as some high-quality spiritual water. I estimate that the third and fourth pill formulas will have a high chance of success. If it fails, I've already considered it. So the chances of success for the last two pill formulas are very high, said the Green Feather King. After packing up, Su Fong left Heaven's Moat. An hour later, in the Wasteland Market, the three-yang cauldron had cost him a huge amount of resources. Not counting the treasures he had acquired in the Battle Soul ruins, he could only buy one more primal jade stone with his own resources. This time, he wanted to sell over 100 enchanted treasures he had obtained in the magma core. Among them were a dozen high-grade enchanted items. Those were all rare goods worth hoarding. Arriving at the Taishan Trading Company, where he had bought the three-yang cauldron, he activated his runic talisman. That man from last time quickly came out to see Su Fong. The pill is complete. The man thought that Su Fong had come to sell medicinal pills. Su Fong bowed. I'm here to buy primal jade stone and profound yellow stone. Refining pills isn't easy. I'm still in the midst of preparing. It'll probably take some time. You should know the price of primal jade stone. It costs 100,000 undying pure yuan pills. As for profound yellow stone, it's even more expensive. It costs 500,000 undying pure yuan pills. It really is expensive. His heart shook. Profound yellow stone was outrageously expensive, but that was also reasonable. After all, the Ewatian realm didn't produce profound yellow stone. The profound yellow primordial spirit had Su Fong buy 5 primal jade stones and 3 profound yellow stones to refine the flame spirit elephant into an enchanted treasure. In the future, once Su Fong had enough money, he could even raise the grade of the flame spirit elephant. Su Fong took out a large amount of middle-grade enchanted items. There were nearly 100 of them. Su Fong himself was dazzled. As for the Supreme God Sect disciples, they were used to this kind of scene. They were just a bit curious as to how Su Fong had become rich in such a short time. They felt that Su Fong had some background, so they didn't dare be negligent. In the end, they still needed half. 1 profound yellow stone cost 500,000 undying pure yuan pills. What kind of concept was that? Even an undying pure yuan pill would be hard-pressed to take out that many pure yuan pills. And 500,000 undying pure yuan pills was enough to buy several high-grade enchanted items. Added together, they could buy a peak high-grade enchanted item. Profound yellow stone was too expensive. Just a small piece was worth more than several high-grade enchanted items. Taking out 4 high-grade enchanted items, the other party calculated them. After Su Fong checked, they finally reached the amount. This time, I obtained over 100 enchanted items from the Battle Soul ruins, but I can't buy that much profound yellow stone. Poor. Even though there were still some high-grade enchanted items, Su Fong had never felt so powerless. Profound yellow stone was truly a luxury. Su Fong continued, "All right, I also need some ingredients as well as spirit water for refining pills. Do you have any extraordinary spirit water?" The man said, "We have many different kinds of spirit water here. I suggest you use medicinal fruit spirit water. This kind of spirit water is collected from mature medicinal fruits. It's also very expensive. A small bottle costs quite a few pure yuan pills. A small bottle is only enough to refine over 100 pills." Su Fong also took out some spirit stones to buy a bottle of medicinal fruit spirit water as well as the ingredients needed for refining pills. After a while, the other party brought over an empty bag. The empty bag was a free gift. Inside were 5 origin jade stones, 3 profound yellow stones, a jade bottle, and over 20 different kinds of spirit herbs. The profound yellow stone was only the size of a walnut and was very smooth. It was clearly polished. Su Fong sensed a familiar aura from it. It was the same aura as the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. "Master, I'll need a lot more profound yellow stone in the future." After saying goodbye to the man, Su Fong left the Taishan commerce. He was very happy with the profound yellow stone he had obtained. He wanted to share it with the profound yellow yuan spirit. This person is incredible. He actually obtained quite a few spirit source seeds and exchanged them for 2 peak high-grade enchanted items. They're from the Devil Path. We can't get their attention. Just as he walked out of the commerce, he heard quite a few people discussing something. When Su Fong turned around, he saw 2 figures walking out of the Taishan Commerce's hall. Brahma, true devil. Don't answer people. What a coincidence. Seeing the 2 of them, Su Fong instantly understood. The 2 of them had definitely gotten what they wanted. They had obtained quite a few spirit source seeds, and in the end, they had exchanged them for 2 shocking magical treasures. Brahma True Devil was currently recovering his strength. With a peak high-grade enchanted item, his power was absolutely terrifying. At the very least, he was at the undead realm. "Master, it seems someone is plotting against us," whispered Mo Ingrun. "What are you afraid of? We'll kill them all. Let's go to the inn first. During this time, I still need to gather quite a few hearts and materials to recover my cultivation. Once I recover, I could go to Devil Jade Island with you. It's just that some materials aren't easy to find." Brahma True Devil still had the appearance of a goateed elder. He didn't look like a devil, while Mo Ingrun looked like a devil. The 2 of them had intentionally hidden their appearances. If it weren't for Mo Ingrun's devilish chi, no one would be able to tell they were from the Devil Path. Su Fong left the market ruins and returned to the depths of Heavenly Moat to refine the 3rd pill formula. As for refining the Flame Spirit Elephant, it would still take some time. For now, he focused on refining pills. Half a month later, Su Fong and Green Feather King immediately checked the pills. After using the medicinal fruit spirit water to cleanse the spirit, the pills quickly condensed. Once again, it was Flying Tiger King's turn to test the pills. This time, Green Feather King was slightly satisfied. The pills refined from the 3rd formula are clearly 10 times stronger than the first 2. They're close to success. Now let's see if the 4th formula will succeed. Su Fong was overjoyed and continued refining the 4th formula. For the next half a month, each day felt like a year to Su Fong. Once the time was up, Su Fong invited Green Feather King over. After cleansing the pills, a medicinal fragrance wafted out. When he took out the pills, the fragrance penetrated through the air. After Flying Tiger King consumed them, even he could clearly feel the medicinal energy. It's considered a success. The medicinal energy is 3 times stronger than the last pill. It's about as expected. Kid, now you can officially start refining pills. The formula is set. You have to give it a name. Green Feather King finally relaxed after sensing the medicinal energy. Success. Su Fong was grinning from ear to ear. After thinking for a while, he said, "Yang Qi is the main ingredient. How about the pure Yang pill and the great Yang pill?" Not domineering enough. Green Feather King was dissatisfied. Domineering enough. How about the aphrodisiac pill? Awesome. Aphrodisiac pill. That's it. Even Green Feather King praised the aphrodisiac pill. He was full of admiration. In the future, we can advertise it like this. Mortals who eat it will live for 100 years. Women who eat it will become young and beautiful. Men who eat it will become fierce dragons and tigers. There were also advertisements. Su Fong was speechless. Chapter 191. Time became meaningless. Su Fong gave the 3 junior commanders the Yang strengthening pill, while he wholeheartedly refined the 3 materials in Xinhuang. When he entered the Flame Cloud Spirit Gourd, he saw that the 13 flame crystal golems had already formed a connection with him. With just a thought, the Fire Crystal Stone Golem would be able to come to his side and urge him to attack, defend, and so on. Puppet arts naturally weren't that simple. They also had to refine all kinds of runes and implant them into the puppet. Then the puppet would have the ability to use runes. For example, the Daluo Heavenly Sword Chi rune talisman would allow the Daluo Heavenly Sword Chi to be used. Furthermore, the flame crystal golems used to be experts. After 30,000 years, they had become flame crystal golems, and their hardness had reached the level of high-grade enchanted items. As long as they became ordinary puppets, their power would be limitless. They could even deal with imperishable experts and kill undying experts. The flame crystal golems still need to be fused. Once you're stronger and reach the undying realm, you can refine them into higher-level puppets. Back in Xinhuang, Green Feather King was relieved to learn about the flame crystal golems. Before he knew it, the 3 junior commanders had refined over 2,000 Yang strengthening pills. As for the 10,000-year frost sand, glazed adamantium, and deep-sea black stone, the 3 materials had also begun to melt. Finally, there was some movement. Seeing the 3 materials remain motionless, it was like playing the lute to a cow. He had no confidence in refining them. But now there was hope. Su Fong used the even more terrifying Green Fiend True Flame to refine the 3 materials, not hesitating to consume his core energy. Your Green Fiend True Flame has already reached a certain level. It's comparable to an imperishable disciple, and you've also fused with quite a few spiritual flames. Someone like you who can control Green Fiend True Flame at the Heavenly Union realm is definitely unique in the Immortal Sealing sect, said Green Feather King suddenly. The next competition for the mortal ranking will be your true cultivation journey in the Immortal Sealing sect. Yes, Su Fong sighed. Even now, he still hadn't truly integrated into the Immortal Sealing sect. The 100-year trial and 7 injuries peaks formation didn't count for much. It was just a normal cultivation journey between disciples. The competition for the mortal ranking. All the talented disciples of the 7 major Taoist temples will join. This was the real cultivation path of the Celestial Sealing sect. Only by being nominated on the ranking list of young masters could Su Fong be considered to have officially stepped into the Celestial Sealing sect. The lower immortal heaven was like sand being washed away by huge waves. In the end, only gold could shine.